Well, before you add up the gain in points or assess the damage to your championship, you got to get to the finish line first at 500 miles. Much easier said than done at Talladega as we get set for race 4 in the chase. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil. Start-finish line not located in the center of the front stretch. It's down past pit lane toward turn 1. And so is our broadcast position here, so we can call the always frantic finish. Alan Bestook with two-time Talladega winning driver Dale Jarrett and Talladega winning crew chief and owner Andy Petrie. We're about to see 3 and 4 wide racing, the lead changing constantly lap after lap, incredible action at incredible speed.
Yeah, and as I look at this race, totally different being here in the booth today with great anticipation of a fun race we're about to see. But think back to not too long ago as a driver, and what these drivers are thinking about is that apprehension. And it's not the apprehension and concern of getting hurt or anything. It's just that your fate and your finish could be totally out of your hands today. And as these drivers sit in the cockpit for a long 500 miles, the thing that's on their mind most is just when is all hell going to break loose.
It is, and you're on the box as an owner or crew chief, and I actually would literally count laps and say, okay, we made it by that one. I mean, you couldn't hardly breathe till you get to the end of this thing. These cars are running so close in these big packs, and one little mistake by anybody can take you out of it. But the big payoff is that if you can make it through all that and get to the end and stay right in that pack, you got a shot to win this thing.
Anybody can win at Talladega if you're there at the finish. So those championship guys, how do you think points in the context of all that? It's hard.
Well, they're all thinking points. The challengers are, but coming here, I think the best defense is a good offense. Go out there and race as hard as you can. Just try to stay up front. Just keep your car. Try to stay ahead of this stuff. And I know it's hard to do. I really just don't know how you point race here.
So a lot of build-up for the race that generally never disappoints. We got a big name to get a big race started. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, for the 4 most famous words in motorsports, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, the star of the Sony Pictures comedy Here Comes the Boom in theaters this Friday, October 12th, Kevin James.
Well, first I'd like to say, God bless our troops. God bless America. Talladega, can I get a little noise? Gentlemen, start your engines!
All right, man. You get ready. About 15 away from your stall right there.
And we're ready for chase race number 4 at Talladega. You know the name Earnhardt is on a lot of winners' trophies at this racetrack. Our ESPN in-race reporter today, Dale Earnhardt Jr., has his name on a handful. Jr., a 5-time winner at this racetrack and a 6th today. Well, it's certainly a possibility. We talk with Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the pace laps next. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has enjoyed great success at Talladega. There was a period where he finished 1st or 2nd in 7 straight races here. He's won 5 overall, including 4 in a row, this the last of them in 2004. And if you look at the list of most wins all time at Talladega, 2 of the top 3 names are Earnhardt. Dale Sr., a 10-time winner, Jeff Gordon with 6, and today's ESPN in-race reporter, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 5. Another trophy today would be huge for sure.
Junior, our race fans just saw a graphic that said the Earnhardt family has 15 trophies, a staggering number at this racetrack. That leads us to our mailbag question from Chris in Toledo, Ohio. Says your dad was the best ever at Talladega. What was the best advice you've gotten about racing at this track?
Oh, man, I don't know. You know, I just watched him for years drive the track, run races, watch him draft, side draft, and draft people and make moves, and sort of study those moves and wondering why they worked, how they worked. You can't really never understand it until you get behind the wheel of the car. Once I got behind the wheel of the car, all this stuff started making sense. So even though the packages change from time to time, the draft changes a little bit here and there, the fundamentals are always the same.
Dale, I know you're a big football fan in fantasy football leagues. You have to have a strategy in plotting your teams there. Obviously has to be a game plan from coaches in the NFL. What's your game plan and strategy as this race unfolds today?
Well, the last several times we've raced at Talladega, we're kind of taking it easy, and with You guys are back.
All right, thanks, Junior. We apologize for the little breakup there, but now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Steve Letarte.
Hey, Steve, it's Andy in the booth. This race here at Talladega is not typical by any measure. How is your job going to be different calling the race on top of the box today?
Well, you know, Andy, that's the big difference between Talladega and the other tracks we go to. Is really my job when the race starts is almost complete, 90% complete. You know, it's our job on the team to build this fast race car, which everyone at Hendrick has done. We've had a great car. We got one of our cars on the front row. So there's just not a lot we can do. There's not a lot of speed you can find during pit stops. You really just have to call a good strategy, try to keep track position if that is your strategy, and get your fuel right. You know, with Talladega and the green, white checkers at the end, it can be a little hairy at the finish as far as your fuel window goes. So you need to make sure you pay attention to that.
I know there's a ton of fans out there that hope you pull it off good today, Steve. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck.
All right, thanks. Yeah, we hope we do. We hope we do. New strategy today, so hopefully it'll work out in our benefit.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. lined up in the number 12 position as we get set to go with the Good Sam 500 at Talladega. Race fans, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch coverage live today by following your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. Pace laps take a while. At the longest track on the circuit, we'll take the opportunity for a break here and be back in plenty of time for the start.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega is presented by Pennzoil, pursuing the latest oil technology because we love cars just as much as you do. And in part by Sprint. Say no to sharing. Say yes to Sprint with truly unlimited data. Visit sprint.com/speed. Silverstar Ultra headlights from Sylvania. And the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, long-lasting full-size pickups on the road.
What unlikely drafting partners might we see today as we get down to the finish at Talladega of race number 4 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. The cars on the track working through the parade and pace laps, the green flag just moments away. So as we get set to start that 4th race in the chase, a quick refresher on the championship standings beginning of the day and a couple of guys you think are worth keeping an extra special eye on through the day.
Well, Brad Keselowski's been so strong so far in this chase, and I think it's going to continue today. Talk to his guys down there. They are extremely confident that they're going to be fast and be the car to beat here. So I'm going to be watching for that and see if he is.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to the man in that 5th spot, last year's champion, Tony Stewart. He is really, really good at these restrictor plate tracks, and he comes in here, nothing to lose. He wants to win, get maximum points here today, get himself right back in the middle of this championship battle.
With a wave to his pit crew as he comes by before they come by next at high speed. Speaking of high speed, how about some high definition onboards in the high speed draft? We'll take you right in the middle of the action today with Brad Keselowski with our Dodge on board, Casey Kane from pole position with the Goodyear camera, Denny Hamlin, the fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood camera, Tony Stewart, the Mobil 1 on board, 2-time defending winner of this race, Clint Bowyer's got our 5-hour energy on board, Jeff Gordon, the sprint camera, Jimmy Johnson, he's got the Lowe's on board, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., our in-race reporter with the Chevy on board. Stories from pit road before the green flag. We go to Jamie Little.
Well, Jimmy Johnson hasn't been a fan of restrictor plate races as of late. Why? Well, he hasn't finished better than 20th on the last 5 races. He told me he was dreading Talladega, but his crew chief Chad Knaus is helping him change his attitude, helping him embrace today's race. They have a lot to lose. They're second in points, and today he starts mid-pack. Mike Massaro.
Just how much emphasis is Clint Bowyer placing on this afternoon? Well, he says this race could be the championship decider. He sits 4th in the standings, 25 points back, and knows he needs to be stellar and needs others to fail. This track offers that very combination. Today, Clint Bowyer looking to celebrate his own version of Oktoberfest as he seeks his 3rd consecutive fall victory here at Talladega. To Dr. Jerry Parch.
You know, Jeff Gordon sits 10th in chase standings, 48 points back. And a lot of folks said, well, his chances of a championship this year are done. But not so, says Gordon. The 6-time Talladega winner told me earlier, I've got the car to get it done today. And if I do, and others get involved in the big one, then I gain 25 points. And guess what, guys? I am back in the hunt with some of my best tracks coming up. Vince Welch.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief Steve Letarte says there's plenty of races where he has specific directions for Junior and how they're going to attack the race, but not today. He knows Junior's one of the greatest all-time restrictor plate racers. He said, I gave him the wheel and turned him loose. Junior's not going to ride around at the back today. He wants to lead laps, put on a show, and bring home that 6th Talladega victory, Alan.
All right, Vince, how will Jimmy Johnson and his team approach these 500 miles?
a good race for us today, guys. Remember, one lap at a time, one lug nut at a time, one pit stop at a time, one race at a time. That's where we do this.
They're about to start that one lap at a time. 2 2/3 miles around the track, so the 500 miles takes 188 laps. The pace car on pit road, remember that unique location of the start-finish line at Talladega, past the pit exit down toward turn 1, creates an extra passing opportunity for the always frantic Talladega finish. Will there be the big one? How will it affect the championship? How many lead changes will we see today at Talladega?
To see if this outside lane is going to work good to make passes for the lead. It seems like with this new package, that bottom lane's kind of been the preferred line. See right there, Kasey Kahne gets the advantage, leads that first one.
Car on the outside, purple and pink 21. That's the Daytona 500 winner from a couple of years ago, Trevor Bayne.
They got a big push there from Sam Hornish, but you can see if you get that big push out there and don't have somebody still attached to your bumper, it doesn't do you much good.
It's thick already, 3, some places 4 wide.
As I watched practice on Friday, then talked to a lot of these drivers, they were anticipating big packs, but there are going to be times that they're going to hook up in these 2-car drafts and be able to push by a little bit and get themselves a little bit of breathing room, but they don't want to take the chance of running these cars hot by staying there too long.
They're going to have a little margin for that today because it is quite a lot cooler than it was. They may be able to do this tandem drafting for more laps than they were, say, in practice.
One note while we watch the pack, Denny Hamlin has dropped all the way to the end of this group, playing the conservative strategy already. And remember that yellow line to the inside of the track at this track is out of bounds. You can't go below that line to advance your position. There's Denny Hamlin dropping all the way to the back of the field.
Jimmie Johnson also way back in 36th spot. He's dropping back to the back of the field.
Tell you, I think there's 2 places that you want to be. You either want to be at the very front of this pack, or you want to drop back there to keep yourself out. You're in the middle. That's just putting yourself in more of a position for something to happen, especially for these chase drivers today.
I'll tell you, the way I've always looked at it, though, if you're back there trying to stay out of a wreck, and a wreck happens, it's more likely it's going to be in front of you if you're at the back, and you're going to have to come through it. I know that the strategy is to maybe be able to come through it slower and be able to avoid the cars and debris, but you're still going to have to come through there.
Well, the key is you have to give yourself enough room to make an evasive move or be able to get slowed down enough if that should happen. You can't just run right at the very back of this. You have to give yourself some distance.
Kahne in the 5. Got Bowyer, the 2-time defending winner of this race, behind him in the 15. That's Ryan Newman in the 39. And still Trevor Bayne heading that group in the outside lane, looking for a push in the draft from Sam Hornish in the 22.
Obviously, we talk about what could happen with the consequences of something happening for all the chase drivers. But as I talk to these drivers, their main concern today was all of these other drivers that are out there that aren't a part of the chase. They realize this is such a huge opportunity for them today to go to victory lane that they might not have in these other 6 races coming up. So they're going to be racing hard. It's not they're concerned about the chase drivers, but this is a race they know they can win. So we see Trevor Bayne try to get to the front now.
Kind of doing it by himself. It looks like Kasey Kahne now get another run into turn 3. Sam Hornish doing a good job pushing that 21 of Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, you just can't push him out there so far that you become unattached there, and then that creates a situation of both of you slowing down quite a bit.
That's really kind of the job of the guy that's in front, though, to try to keep that attachment. He almost has to drag the brake a little bit. That's got to be just counterintuitive to a driver to be able to push the brake and go fast. I don't know how they do it.
That was close. Looked like Hornish in the 22 was maybe giving that side draft to Ryan Newman in the 39, and it got a little tight there at the start-finish line. Now Hornish picking up a boost from Joey Logano in the 20, while Kyle Busch comes running through the middle lane in the 18.
Yeah, there's no reason to think that Kyle Busch won't be a part of having a say-so of who's going to win this at the end if he can get to that point. Made it so smooth that there's really not a bad place on this racetrack anymore, so you can just go wherever you want to.
That was 2006 that this racetrack was repaved. Some of the drivers talking about it giving up a little bit of the grip that it had. Not enough to really make handling come into play, though. This track's so big, so wide, and the transitions from banking to flat on the straightaway are so gentle.
Yeah, but I did hear a number of drivers talk about getting loose on the entry to the corner, especially as they ran in packs and with a car on their bumper. That could create some excitement.
Yes, sir. Kasey Kahne in the 5, started on pole, led all of the laps so far. While he runs up front, Jimmie Johnson and Denny Hamlin have dropped to the back early on, going to play that conservative strategy at Talladega. Our telecast today presented by Pennzoil. Talladega, race 4 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Telecast presented by Pennzoil, new leader. Just as you watch them flash across the start-finish line, Trevor Bayne now squeezing in front of Kasey Kahne. Clint Bowyer picking up a draft from Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the outside lane to make a bid for the front. Which driver do you think will take first out of this week's top 4 qualifiers? Kasey Kahne, Ryan Newman, Clint Bowyer, or Tony Stewart? Text FAST to 34763 or go to AT&TFastestDriver.com to play. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs by playing along in today's AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge. Every week, you have a chance to make your pick and see where you stack up against the rest. If that were the last lap, that would have been Bowyer by a few inches.
We've seen that be the last lap like that before, and Clint Bowyer has been the one getting to the finish line first here the last 2 times that we've raced here this time of year.
Last year, he and Jeff Burton drafted away from the pack with Burton leading, and Bowyer passed him coming through the trioval to get to the checkered flag by just a touch. Now, also in this race a year ago, Denny Hamlin fell back off of the pack so far that he completely lost the draft and ended up getting lapped. Well, he's fallen way back off the pack again.
Yeah, when we talk about hanging out at the back, this is a little further back than what I think you should do. Now, Denny Hamlin can run his own race, but he's kind of lost touch as we see Junior go to the lead now with the help of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I said I was watching that outside lane to see if they could make passes. That's the passes that we've been seeing here from the outside. Junior to the lead.
Yeah, that's been something that's been missing the last couple of races here. I talked to some drivers about that. They couldn't really help me understand why that was happening, but they felt like in practice that it may open up here in the race.
So while Dale Jr. goes to the point, we again look back and see how far behind Denny Hamlin has fallen, Jamie.
He really has, and I spoke to Darian Grubb, his crew chief, this morning, and he told me their plan was to push forward early since they started 23rd. Obviously, Denny Hamlin is on his own agenda, trying to avoid everything up ahead of him. He doesn't want to take any risks, but this wasn't exactly the plan going in.
It looks like he started out easy and slacked up where he is now. He's still losing ground. I'm telling you, they're way back there.
Well, I'll assure you, if something happens, he will be able to avoid it where he's at. I think they're in a dangerous situation. We have seen a lot of these races recently go caution free for quite a while, and he's losing pace at a second to 2 seconds a lap.
It was just lap 20 last year in this race when Denny Hamlin got overtaken by the race leader. But as the day went on, circumstances allowed him to get back into a chance to have a decent finish. He got a free pass with a caution flag, got back on the lead lap, and then other circumstances unfolded later in the race.
Well, we see a lot of cars up front. We see Dave Blaney in 36. He's in the top 10. He's running 9th. Cole Witt in 33. He's up 12th.
And new leader, Kyle Busch, with drafting help from Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, that's pretty good drafting partner there. Matt Kenseth, who won the Daytona 500, and I believe I'm correct that he's been leading on the last lap.
He's been leading at the last green-white checker restart of the 2 succeeding races since Daytona, both here at Talladega in May and at Daytona Independence Weekend, and didn't win. It's been he and Greg Biffle in the draft working so well together. In fact, Kenseth and Biffle have led 55% of the laps run on these restrictor plate races so far this year.
Yeah, Kenseth would be a good guy to hang out with here because he's going to find his way to be up front.
He's there now. See Jamie McMurray now working that outside lane. We haven't seen him up front a lot this year. He's an extremely good drafter at these tracks.
And Andy, you were talking about guys moving up like Blaney into the top 10 and so on. That's one of the things that has to make one of these Talladega races at times frustrating for both driver and team is you'll go to the front, you'll go to the back, you'll go to the front.
Oh, trouble.
Yep, there we go. Carl Edwards. Cole Witt.
Yeah, he got hit, I believe, by Casey Mears right there. There was contact between the two. He had been running 10th right before that happened.
Just make sure you got brakes. Got brakes. It knocks the toe. The toe's knocked a little bit. Chains are...
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage to that right rear quarter panel, too. I mean, basically gone.
Over here first. Get the fenders clear of the tires.
They have some work to do on that car. But I tell you, that 33 car hit hard.
Window net down for Cole Witt. That's his signal to the safety officials that he's okay.
Yeah, I've been watching Cole Witt doing a nice job moving his way forward, and just at glance and saw that he was in 10th as they completed that last lap. See, Logano got a part of this also.
I guess Denny Hamlin knew what he was doing after all. He was staying back far enough to miss all this.
Well, I don't know if he planned on getting back that far, but this was certainly a break to get him caught back up to the field, and we'll see how he plays it from this point forward.
You know, well, at first, let's look at how this happened.
Yeah, there was a little contact on the entrance to the corner. They got the 33 loose, but then as he tried to get back in line, the 13, it kind of filled that spot, and then that's when things started happening.
Oh, look at Sam Hornish just barely getting by. And there's where you see Logano get in it.
You can see a little contact between the 13 of Mears and the 33, which moves him up. That's really a place and time at this point in time of the race that you could have given somebody a little bit of a break by just letting them back in line right there.
Now you see Brad Keselowski just coming through there. Wow, that was close.
A couple of cars have really lost the draft. Go right in front of you. Come on. Come on. Let's go low, go low, go low. Go low, go. Stay outside. Outside 29. Caution is in.
Pit stops under the caution. Mike?
And Kyle Busch in on pit road. Car very good. They're going to do fuel only on the 18 car. Let's go to Vince Welch.
It's just fuel only for Dale Earnhardt Jr. No tires at all, Doc.
And McMurray down the right side, the one car, they're going to be fuel only. They said wait on him, wait on the crew chief to go. One can of gas, and McMurray is down and away.
Not everyone pitted under the yellow flag. Kevin Harvick stayed out, and he is going to gain a bonus point for leading a lap. First caution out, somehow in the middle of the pack. This one only involved 3 cars.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
The early action at Talladega Superspeedway. with the enthusiastic command to start engines, and now the first caution flag in race number 4 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Our telecast today presented by Pennzoil. The Good Sam 500 at Talladega. Race fans, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch coverage live today by following your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. See some of the guys choosing that pit strategy to stay out, pit when they get the one to go, and Jamie makes sure they restart at the back of the pack.
That's right, and it's just still so weird to see the 48 and the 11 riding around in the back. You see them both in their pit box. Jimmie Johnson going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel, 4 tires, wedge, and a track bar adjustment. Meanwhile, the 11 cars, they work on the left-hand side of the car. 4 tires, he almost stalls it. Denny Hamlin sluggish out of his pit box. As you see, Jimmie Johnson was clean. 4 tires for both cars as they're going to hook up together here, guys.
Hey, you talk about strategy, all this track position. They're going for track position here. It's just the opposite of what you think. They're trying to start this race at the back of this pack. They went in and just changed 4 tires, take their time, wait till the last minute to pit.
Yeah, they were also trying to hopefully stay out long enough to lead a lap, get that bonus point that they could do that, but a few other cars stayed out there, and that didn't happen for either Jimmie Johnson or Denny Hamlin this particular time.
Yep. Kevin Harvick and Travis Kvapil led the laps under the caution flag, and now Kyle Busch has gone back to the point as we get set for the restart. Coverage of Monday Night Football tomorrow at 6:30. It's Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's. Then at 8:30, the undefeated Texans, led by Arian Foster, take on Mark Sanchez and the New York Jets, looking to get back on track after their disappointing Week 4 loss. Monday Night Football, Texans-Jets, tomorrow at 8:30 on ESPN. So first caution flag came out with contact in pack that turned Cole Witt into the outside wall, collecting Carl Edwards and Joey Logano. Witt checked and released from the infield medical center, and you see Edwards and Logano still getting repairs made to their car as we come to the restart.
And you see them staying below that yellow line as they leave pit road today. They have to do that until they exit turn 2 onto the back straightaway.
Amazing that accident only caught 3 cars, but in this race a year ago, we had a series of incidents that had 2 and 3 cars involved and never had the big one. In the May race this year, we had 2 big wrecks that claimed a number of cars, so we'll see if we're going to be on the small and scattered program or the large damage totals all at once.
Yeah, I don't know how that first one just involved 3 right there. Some drivers did great jobs of avoiding all of that.
Kyle Busch saying to Casey Kane, come on, time to go. Kenseth, Greg Biffle, 16 and 17, those drafting partners that together have been so strong at Daytona and Talladega this year, side by side for this restart. See if they could find a way to get nose to tail.
Yeah, totally different here last few times where we saw the tandem, everybody having to have a partner getting hooked up. This is more pack. They'll use each other for a lap or 2, but we're going to see more of the pack, and as you try to make a change as far as the position going forward, you need someone to push you, but not like what we were seeing before.
A lot of different stories throughout this field. You caught a glimpse of Kurt Busch in the 51. His last ride for owner James Finch. He moves to the 78 car for Furniture Row Racing starting next week at Charlotte. Regan Smith in that 78, the 3-wide car on the top side. His last ride for that team. His future. Talked to him yesterday. He said he has some plans he expects to announce shortly. Very confident he'll be in a very competitive situation for next season.
Yeah, we've seen Regan Smith be a factor in races here, so don't be surprised to see him up front whenever it comes time to win this race today. He's getting a nice push right now from Kevin Harvick.
There are both Kurt, 51, and Smith, 78.
nice of them to get in the same frame as we talk about them, right?
I appreciate that.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see those two drivers swap rides next week. We know where Kurt Busch is going.
Just haven't seen that third lane up there. We've seen that second lane be able to push forward, especially after they run some laps. Haven't really been able to see this outside lane get going yet. Of course, we haven't seen any of the, what we would consider the faster cars get up there and try to make a move like that yet.
So Matt Kenseth and Dale Jr. draft to the first and second positions. Jamie McMurray in the one, heading that outside lane now.
You can see the 2 car in the middle of that too. Brad Keselowski did a great job of avoiding that accident a while ago. Heard him talk a lot this week about how he would rather race up front here. He thought that he could do better, serve his team better, and have a better opportunity of getting a good finish out of this.
Yeah, didn't have a good qualifying run, and that's why he's back here trying to fight his way to the front. Being pretty methodical about it. Like you said, he made a really good move to stay out of that last wreck.
Casey Mears, 13. And Brad Keselowski in the 2. Championship leader who saw that wreck happen right in front of him.
He's going almost 200 miles an hour down the back straightaway in the big pack. You see speed's just a little quicker than that if they can really get hooked up in a tandem, catching another group.
Now the lead pack coming up on Carl Edwards' car. Carl went to pit road just as the field took the green for the restart.
You can see how Keselowski is working the throttle a little bit. In that traffic, you have to do that. But he's having a pretty strong run so far, Vince.
That's right, Andy, and he's right where they had planned on being. Paul Wolf, the crew chief, saying they would prefer to run in the front all day long, although just before that yellow that involved Logano and Edwards and so forth, he was saying, Keselowski was, that he felt like things were getting a little shaky up front, was thinking about dropping back, and then the yellow came out. So he's keeping himself up in the front position so far. It's what they had planned on all day. We'll see how that develops.
Well, you're certainly right about things were getting shaky, but they got shaky right in front of him. Yeah. He wasn't getting to the back fast enough there, but you can see he kind of left the lane open there in the middle and losing some spots right now.
Reminder, stay tuned for NASCAR nonstop coverage during the second half of today's race, presented by Pennzoil. Won't miss a second of the action. David Rudiman in the 10, Dave Blaney in the 36, getting their chance to run up through the pack toward the front. Matt Kenseth leads. Dale Jr. heading the outside line. Brad Keselowski heading the outside line. One caution so far. And we're about 75 miles in here at Talladega. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by Pennzoil, reminding you to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Matt Kenseth in the 17, the Daytona 500 winner, leading another lap. One of 8 different drivers that have traded the lead 10 times in this race so far. Race 4 in the chase, the ultimate wild card in the championship, and so far there are almost 3 groups of drivers. Those up front like Kenseth and Casey Kane and Dale Jr. and Clint Bowyer. A couple guys in the middle of the pack like the championship leader Brad Keselowski, and then guys that have dropped to the tail end of the field like Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, and Denny Hamlin.
Things are a little bit crazy up front there. We've seen some cars, some nice saves through the trial, some people getting out of shape there. So as you can see now, Brad Keselowski back there at the back. He dropped even further back too to join Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin.
Fans jumping. 88 car to the lead. At the very tail end of this lead draft, Brad Keselowski left of the screen, and there in the center of the picture, Tony Stewart in the Mobil 1 car, and Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin bringing up the tail end of this lead draft. Jamie, they're in 36th and 37th.
Unbelievable right now. And Denny Hamlin telling his team he has a vibration on his mirror. It's not on there solid enough. He can't see anything out of it. Good for him. Nobody's behind him yet, but he's thinking later on in the race he's going to need that mirror a lot. So he's asked his team to come up with something to help secure it so he can see out of it clearly. Right now they're all talking and discussing what they can do. They're going to clamp something to the roll bar to try to steady it. That's going to be interesting to watch on a pit stop, Alan.
I guess.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling as a driver because you depend on that. That's the one thing that can help you as you work your way forward and get towards the latter stages of this race is trying to know where everybody's at as much as you possibly can. So that thing vibrating a little bit, it can be very aggravating to the driver.
Of course, the other tool helping the driver figure out what is around him on the racetrack, especially with all the safety equipment making it difficult to see, is the spotter. Each car mandated by NASCAR to have a spotter, at least one. Here at Talladega, they usually use two, but one that's stationed up on top of the control tower. And the spotter's platform in the center of the racetrack, it's toward pit exit, and they're in constant radio communication with their driver to let him know what's going on around him. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team.
And the 1, 17, 18, and 5, all with you on the bottom. The 1, 17, 18 are both, all three clear, or all three clear with you.
See how they have to use those binoculars because it's so far away over to the back straightaway. See, now he's probably going over here to talk to maybe one of the other spotters. Try to get together, make a deal.
Jamie McMurray spotter there.
You know, those spotters are great, but just as you saw, they're having to use binoculars to make all of this happen. You know, as a driver, I only wanted that certain information, and you ultimately, as the driver of this race car, are responsible for your moves and your actions.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front, Vince.
And Junior's car not handling 100% to his liking. They made a wedge adjustment on that first pit stop to try to get him a little bit more comfortable, especially when he's out front. You know, it feels a lot different when you're back in the middle of the pack. Junior spent much of this race in the front section, and right now he's on the point trying to get a handle on it a little bit smoother. Jerry?
Yeah, McMurray started 24th, Vince, and drove it all the way to 4th in 18 laps. And but when he came in for that pit stop, he said, guys, fuel only, but also I'm worried about getting hot. Guys around me are starting to push water out, so pull some tape off the grill. Being very cool today, they had a lot of tape on the front of the grill. They pulled the tape off, and now it is fast and cool. McMurray very comfortable in second spot. Mike.
Matt Kenseth, before that last stop, was complaining that the car was a little bit tight. They made a wedge adjustment trying to stabilize the car a little bit. He's been rather quiet since, rather content. Kind of surprised, though. Had a conversation with his crew chief this morning, Jimmy Fennig, and he told me they were slow. Does that car look slow to you guys?
No, hasn't looked slow at Daytona or Talladega this year. First, third, and third in those three races for Matt Kenseth. One of those guys that a victory today would be huge for. But Kenseth behind Jamie McMurray and the race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Talladega. BCS Countdown is on ESPN and ESPNU tonight. As we welcome you back to the Talladega Superspeedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front, retaking the lead. A lap after Matt Kenseth, drafted by him with the help of Greg Biffle, took the lead. But you won't see Matt Kenseth at the front of this pack now, because shortly after taking the lead, disaster nearly happened.
So he was getting pushed by Greg Biffle, his teammate, but Biffle got a little bit to the inside, and as Kenseth tried to turn down, got extremely loose. I couldn't tell from there if there was contact or if it was just a matter of turning his car down.
Yeah, no matter what started it,
well,
look at this.
Yeah, there was a little bit of pushing right there.
But look at the save. That's incredible.
That's
look
amazing.
at that's on the flat of the racetrack at 200 miles an hour.
Unbelievable. And all these people said it's the safest at the front. Well, there's your leader almost taking everybody out.
I think I was one that said that.
There you go, man. No pressure on that one. No pressure on the one.
Look at that.
Keep going high, go high, go way high, go high, 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 high. Keep going, one inside, keep coming, no caution, keep coming. You're clear.
So first to 31st for Matt Kenseth, just like that, but not wrecked. And still in the race.
Yeah. And I think he fell back there to catch his breath.
Yeah.
And start making his way forward. We'll see, what strategy does he employ now that he lost all of that track position? Is he going to try to drive his way back up through there? And I think that's what Matt Kenseth will do. He'll try to find another good drafting partner and make his way back to the front.
Should I try this again? BCS Countdown on ESPN and ESPNU tonight. The day after the dust has settled, and there was a lot of dust on Saturday. Our analysts break down the key victories and defeats that took place on the college football gridiron and their impact on the standings. And a look at the key matchups for next week. BCS Countdown at 8:30, then at 9, presented by Discover Card, tonight on ESPN and ESPNU.
Yeah, kind of like this race today. There were some incredible college football games yesterday.
So sliding across that transition from the banking to the flat of the racetrack sometimes will wrinkle up the front end of one of these race cars, and aerodynamics being so critical here at Talladega. Mike, anything from the 17 team?
And that's exactly what they're concerned about, Alan. After catching his breath, Kenseth radioed in. He wants his team to get the binoculars out and zoom in on that splitter. Thinks he may have done a little bit of damage there.
What do you think, Andy?
It looks okay. The shots we've seen so far, I don't see any problem. Looks like the car's still plenty fast. I know that outside lane hasn't been the way to make a lot of moves, but he's coming to the front. I think they're okay until we get a better shot at it.
Speaking of coming to the front, as Kenseth tries to pick up Trevor Bayne in the draft.
From that angle right there, it looks pretty good.
Casey Mears gets picked up by Jeff Gordon in the draft, and they had a shot at the lead and then fell back. Mears in that 13, the blue and white car.
Yeah, to make this outside lane work, or the middle, and then certainly on the very outside lane, you really have to stay attached to the car to really make some ground. And I know a lot of these drivers aren't willing right now to take that gamble of staying there for the 2 or 3 laps that it would really take to get you to the front, taking the chance of running the engine hot and creating a problem.
See, in that shot, David Ruderman in that 10 car up in 6th.
One of the great things about the drafting and the restricted engine package at Talladega, it's the great equalizer. People that might not normally have the technology to compete on a week-to-week basis on one of the high downforce tracks and that kind of thing come to Talladega. And I think you said it before, Andy, at the top of our broadcast, everybody's got a chance to win.
Yeah, if you can stay just in this pack, in this shot right here, to the end of the race on the last lap, or last few laps, you'll have a shot at winning. Seen a lot of unlikely winners come here.
Many, many. Just one caution so far today at Talladega. We're past 100 miles, and the leaders Dale Earnhardt Jr. Our telecast today, presented by Pennzoil. There is the race for the lead at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. shuffled back. Casey Mears pushed to the front by Jeff Gordon. Now Jeff Burton, 31, pushed to the front by his Richard Childress Racing teammate Kevin Harvick. How long will they be there? Kurt Busch on the outside with a draft from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Burton led that lap.
Boy, look at Kurt Busch got a lot of momentum now with that push from Junior.
See Jeff Burton get extremely loose right there. Now Harvick closes up on his back bumper.
Yeah, that ought to tighten him up.
He might not tighten him up. It's going to make him go fast here for a minute.
Look at him go.
Everybody started to get a little antsy.
You can see he pushed Burton out there. Harvick did the smart thing there, knowing that he had gotten Burton out there too far. He wasn't going to have anything except being set there by himself. He pulled down to the inside lane to get some help.
Is this going to open the door for Trevor Bayne? He's got a strong car today.
Yeah, he's got a strong car, but nobody on his bumper right now. He's going to have to do a little better job of keeping somebody attached to that bumper. Try to get him pushed to the front. There he's got some help.
Eric Almirola in the 43. David Stremme in the 30.
Casey Mears, once again, he liked that idea of being out front. See if he can make it happen again. It was Jeff Gordon who pushed him to the lead a few minutes ago.
We are just past a quarter distance in this race. Only the one caution flag so far. Coming up on another round of green flag pit stops soon. There's Trevor Bayne to the lead in the 21.
That's a little tricky when they take that lead from the outside and move down and try to get back to the bottom. That's where we saw Kenseth and Biffle get in trouble.
Thumbs up from Trevor. Thanks, Eric. Trevor Bayne leading. 37 cars in the lead pack. Looking down on the race for the lead at Talladega from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. From pit lane to victory lane, every NASCAR driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. The Goodyear's under Casey Mears' machine, carrying him back to the lead as he gets pushed again by Jeff Gordon up to the front of the pack.
Casey Mears got him a good drafting partner there. I don't know if he'll look at returning the favor later on in the day.
I know Jeff's hoping he will.
As the Doc called them earlier, hidden helpers.
Casey Mears doing a nice job here today in that Geico Ford, though. He's really enjoys this type of racing, and I think that shows here as he's been very aggressive moving his way to the front.
Now, something else to watch for here as we close in on green flag pit stops. Drivers trying to work their way in the traffic to find a spot in that bottom lane. Because if you have to go to the pit lane and there's somebody to the inside of you, that's not going to work out very well.
Yeah, look how tight this inside lane is. If you had a pit, I don't know how you do it. I guess, pardon me, I've got to get down here. I got to go to the pit road. I don't think they're going to let him.
Yeah, and that really is why we see some accidents happen as they start on pit road, because drivers not giving good signals and other ones knowing and being told they have to come at that moment.
Here we go. The first moves to the pit lane from out of the pack. Sam Hornish, Brad Keselowski, the Penske posse pitting together. Montoya, McMurray. Should I say the Ganassi guys? Want me to keep this going? And Brad's bunch with Bobby Labonte. All right, Vince.
There's the two of Brad Keselowski. They took right sides only the first stop. They're going to take all four tires this time. Let's go to Jerry Punch. Doc?
Jamie McMurray from 24th position all the way to the lead, and right side tires going on. Now we'll go ahead and make a chassis adjustment. Right rear, Sunoco fuel going in. Got to get it full of fuel. Want to be able to go 43 to 45 laps. Here comes the 2-car by, the 22 by, and McMurray now off the Jackson away.
And a big pack turning left for the pit lane. Mike?
And Matt Kenseth, they're going to try to fix that car up. It hasn't been handling the same since the incident where he hit the apron. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. Also on the first stop, he took no tires. This time around, he'll take 4. Meanwhile, down pit road, Kyle Busch also making his pit stop. He's been pretty happy with the car. He took 4 tires. He's away.
Well, the 21 of Trevor Bayne has a right front flat. Bayne's been strong throughout much of the day, and the right front flat came in, put on 4 tires for Trevor Bayne, pulling out, having a little bit of trouble there with the jack. Doc?
Kasey Kahne, right side tires only. He is now down and away, so a right side tire call. Everyone else doing 4, but strategy early on for the 5-car.
More cars to the pit lane, including Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson. Tony Stewart also in. Jamie?
And Denny Hamlin is in. They took 4 tires last time. Remember, he's having trouble with that mirror. He wasn't able to see out of it, vibrating so much. They're not going to try to fix it this time. Not enough time under green flag conditions. They go around 4 tires it is, Vince.
Well, you see the 88 just pulling out. They made a chassis adjustment, took right side tires only. Doc?
Right side tires only for Gordon. He tries to go out. Here comes the 88 by on the outside. Gordon pitting with Mears. Both deciding to take right side tires. And now Gordon trying to stay with Casey Mears, his drafting partner.
Kyle Busch, Trevor Bayne. Too fast entering pit road. On their green flag stops, they both owe NASCAR a pass-through penalty. Dale Earnhardt Jr. too fast exiting the pit lane. He'll have to come back in.
Exiting 610. It was. Too fast, but too fast. You have to roll through. You have to roll through. You have to roll through next time. This time, whenever works, but you need to roll through at pit road speed.
Now Junior's going to serve that penalty from the lead.
Yeah, that's just a sickening feeling as a driver that you've made that mistake, knowing here how important it is to have drafting
roll all the way through, all the way past the cone there, buddy. We'll be fine. We got a lot of race here.
The only good thing he might have is some company with Trevor Bayne and Kyle Busch having to do kind of the same thing. The three of those cars make it hook up and stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, he may have to wait on him, though, because they're quite a bit farther back than he is coming off pit road. He's got a lot of momentum. Maybe they'll come together here as he gets up to speed.
So how things can change in a cycle of pit stops. Jimmie Johnson's been running around at the back of the pack all race long. He just picked up a bonus point as the leader of this race.
Yeah, they took 2 tires there, as did a number of those cars that are up front there, so kind of flopped the strategy around. They waited long enough, too, for a lot of cars to pit, which got them at the head of the field when they made their pit stop, so they weren't losing a lot of time. Very good strategy by Chad Knaus and that group.
Marcos Ambrose in the 9, heading up that outside line of cars. With Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle right there. How do you think Kenseth is going to feel if Biffle gets back on his back bumper?
Maybe a little nervous at first.
Yeah, I know that wasn't something that Greg Biffle intentionally did by any means, but it was almost a disaster for Kenseth and possibly a lot of others if he would have spun.
Not with us earlier. Kenseth and Greg Biffle drafted to the lead. Then Biffle turned left to get back to the bottom lane faster than Kenseth did. Then Matt came across the nose of the 16 car, went for a wild ride down onto the apron of the turn 1 banking, but saved it and continued on. Dale Jr. 28 seconds behind the leader and out there running by himself after that speeding penalty.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Race fans, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live from Talladega. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. And as we're watching live now, it is Jimmie Johnson out front, followed by Casey Mears. A different strategy, though, playing out with the 5-Hour Energy Rapid Recap, getting us caught up in what's happened so far. Jimmie Johnson, early on with Denny Hamlin, went to the back.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to stay out of this wreck. I'm going to get to the back. I'm going to stay in the back for a while, hang out with Denny back here. Just try to avoid all the stuff that might happen early.
Meanwhile, the other Hendrick teammates, Dale Earnhardt Jr., went straight to the front.
Yeah, they did. They're absolutely flying, making their way towards the front. We thought those Hendrick cars would be strong as we go throughout the day, and they're starting to flex a little muscle.
Not always safe out there, though.
No, a little miscommunication between teammates there. Touch on the bumper, and what a save by Matt Kenseth.
The middle, not where you want to be. Trouble earlier for Carl Edwards and Cole Witt.
Oh, yeah, tough deal for Carl Edwards and Cole Witt. Edwards gets his car really tore up. Cole Witt is basically out of this thing. Just a miscue right there and a big wreck between those two drivers.
As you saw on the right side of the screen, nothing has changed. Jimmie Johnson is still out front. Why the change in strategy?
I really don't know why they're doing this. Jimmie Johnson is elected to start in the back and stay in the back. But through all these pit stops, he's got himself up in front right now. And he's got Jeff Gordon there, Casey Mears, Casey Kane. Ray, it looks like some of the Gordon teammates are trying to hook up right now.
Yeah, it looked like in the beginning that the 48 and the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, along with the 2 car of Brad Keselowski, decided to go in the back and kind of race together. And then Jimmy got an opportunity to get with his teammates out front. The thing I'm impressed with most is how he did this on a green flag stop. Get in the back, he's up there leading the race, and he's got his teammates around him.
The 11, Denny Hamlin, still choosing to stay in the back, though.
I tell you, this could create problems for Denny. He got lapped last year doing this. I'm not a big fan of hanging out in the back by yourself all the time. So this is what Denny wants to do right now. It's not something I would do.
And he seems to be sticking with his strategy. But we watched him say in the beginning of the show, hey, look, I've tried it from the back. I've tried it from the front. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to be good for him or not?
I agree with you. And also, somebody I'm keeping an eye on was Trevor Bayne. Had a good run going early, came down to serve a little bit of a pit road speeding violation, but when he was getting on the pit road, he locked up his tires. It looks like he may have flat spotted his right front tire, so it's somebody to keep an eye on as he kind of tries to make his way back up through the field.
What's the one thing that, Ray, you keep saying? Get out of the middle.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the middle. I know in the front you're ahead of the wrecks. In the back you've got a little ways to stop and can see them happening. When you're in the middle, most times you're right in them.
Yeah. You know, one thing we talked about early, guys, who would you draft with out there? You see Casey Mears up there. Now, Jeff Gordon's been helping him quite a bit throughout the day. Casey and Jeff have always been friends. They've had a good friendship, and it looks like they trust each other. So it's been Mears and Gordon all day long hooked up together. That's another person you can hook up. We talked about you use teammates, or you use friends, or you hook up with manufacturers. Obviously, Jeff Gordon has picked a friend.
And right now, those two are going after the lead, Alan.
Now Nicole, Jeff Gordon, Jimmie Johnson, side by side for the #1 spot in a pair of Chevrolets. Enter now for a chance to win a Jimmie Johnson personalized 2013 Camaro ZL1 plus a Daytona 500 race weekend for 2. Visit wincamarozl1.com now to enter. Matt Kenseth pushing Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, trying to get to the lead. Jimmie Johnson. They were discussing Jimmie Johnson, his strategies. I think Chad Canals had this in his mind to take those 2 tires. They waited till everybody had pitted, got themselves up there near the top 5. That allowed them to get out front. I think we will see him go to the back, though, once he starts getting past him.
Well, one thing he had the advantage of, he was one of the last cars to pit through the cycle, and Chad was able to watch what other cars did and probably saw an opportunity to take this. And it's a great strategy, like you said. And if he could stay up front, he'd probably do that. But we'll see what he does now that he's lost the lead.
The lead has been lost by Jimmie Johnson to Jeff Gordon, Doc.
Exactly. Jeff has a good race car, wanted to stay up front but not necessarily show his hand, but also knows, Alan, he needed to get up there when he had a shot and lead that valuable lap to get the bonus point. That was the first lap he had led today. He needed to be up there. Now he can stay up front and not have to push his luck here at Talladega.
300 Motorsports cars in the top 5 positions. Kasey Kahne there in the black and white 5, running on Jeff Gordon's back bumper. Jimmie Johnson there in that inside lane in the Lowe's 48.
And you know, Brad Daugherty's already stuck a fork in Jeff Gordon. Look at him there, 5th as they run in points. Only 35 back. And this is the kind of race that can turn it around for Jeff Gordon if some of these guys happen to have some trouble.
And of course the big question is, if we have the big one, who's in it? Who gets through it? Jeff Gordon knows if he makes it through the big one and has a good finish today, and some of those other guys at the front of the championship standings don't finish well, he could be back in it. Chase race number 4 at Talladega for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Looking live at the race for the lead. Our telecast today presented by Pennzoil. We are just past the 200-mile mark of this race, and Jeff Gordon is out in front. Reminder that later on tonight, the final eliminations of the Auto Plus NHRA Nationals from Reading, Pennsylvania, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. And then next weekend, a prime time doubleheader. The Nationwide Series presented by GoDaddy.com from Charlotte on Friday night at 7 Eastern on ESPN, and the Bank of America 500 on ABC next Saturday, also at 7 Eastern Time. Jamie McMurray in the 1. Drafting to the inside of Jeff Gordon, trying to get out in front. You'll see that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch have both been overtaken by the lead pack. They're a lap down, and critical to those drivers' hopes if a caution were to come out. That orange car almost involved in bringing out a caution there. Joey Logano is the first car 1 lap down, and the guy in position to get the free pass.
Yeah, he's getting ready to be on the tail end of the lead lap if he can make this pass.
Logano with damage from that first caution. That accident got hit in the right side, right front fender. They repaired that, and it looks like that car's fast. They just need a break.
We've seen that here lately at Talladega, a place where aerodynamics seem to be so important, but guys with torn up race cars jump back in the draft, and they're competitive.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he's able to get out front here. Can he stay there with that damaged race car? I always found it difficult. If you had some damage, you could make your way in the middle and getting some help, but what happens when you get out front and that aero package isn't as good as what you started with? about Jamie McMurray up there? Andy, you pointed out early on what a great job he does on these restrictor plate tracks.
Yeah, he is so good. He's just got a knack for it. He knows where to be and how to pick a partner. He's really good at this style of racing. He's got a good partner now with Kurt Busch behind him.
51 car in his last drive for James Finch's Phoenix Racing. Finch, a former winner here in the Sprint Cup Series with Brad Keselowski driving. And Kurt always near the front in these drafting races, but never taking home the trophy. A lot of second place finishes. And I mean a lot of second place finishes for Kurt at Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that he hasn't won one.
Casey Mears in that 13, been up front a lot in this last 100 miles of the race. There's your championship leader, Brad Keselowski, in the 2 in the thick of this pack.
See Gordon and Casey Kane trying to make that third lane work. We haven't really seen anybody go to the front, but these two are hooked up right now. I'm not sure how long they can stay like this, but they're going to the lead.
At 5, pushing some water there, starting to overheat.
It's getting just about to that time. I'm not sure that the 5 is clear of the 1 so they can get down. Now he's got to get out and breathe. Well, this is going to leave Jeff Gordon hanging out, though. Yeah, you can see Casey let up just a little bit there to try to get back with Gordon, but he needed to breathe his car. McMurray leads once again.
Casey had to get completely out of the throttle with that 5 car. Got to get it cooled down.
And we talked about, don't know how you think about points in the middle of the Talladega race, but the worst thing Casey Kane could do, you know, if you get caught up in a wreck, that's circumstances. If you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and overheat your engine and make it fail, now you've really put yourself out of the championship or put a hurting on your title hopes.
Yeah, and you know, you say, can you think about points? Well, at this point in time during the race, yeah, up to lap 150 or so, you can make decisions that will keep you involved in this race. Now, the last 20 laps of this race, if you're thinking about points, you're probably not going to be a factor in determining who's going to win this race, if that's your thoughts.
Logano's still doing a great job keeping that car up front. I tell you, probably his biggest cheerleader's got to be Trevor Bayne, who's in that would be the person in the lucky dog position if the caution would come out with Logano just in front of the leader. That's changing just by the second here as they run.
The leader is Jamie McMurray, one of 13 drivers that have been out in front in this race. Still a long way to go at Talladega. Telecast today presented by Pennzoil. The lead draft at Talladega, led by Jamie McMurray as we close in on halfway in today's Good Sam 500. We take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint Network. Kurt Busch started in 29th position in James Finch's 51 car. He's running second. Biggest mover in the race so far. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app. Only from Sprint. Get the app and Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed. Kurt trying to move up another spot as he gets to the inside of Jamie McMurray. McMurray's got some drafting help in the form of the championship leader, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch, who's trying to get back on the lead lap after a speeding penalty on green flag pit stops a minute ago.
Like Keselowski got his hands full there with that push from Kyle Busch.
Boy, he sure did. He was all over his bumper trying to make that happen. Jamie McMurray made a choice right there to move up. He could see that group coming, made the right choice to keep the lead.
See some slower traffic ahead at the bottom of the racetrack that the leaders will have to overtake.
And that always becomes a difficult situation because after those first 2 or 3 rows, those drivers really can't see those cars up there, and things start happening in a hurry, especially as you're 2 and 3 wide coming up on them.
One of those cars, Carl Edwards, damaged in a crash. The only caution of the race back at lap 17. He, Cole Witt, and Joey Logano damaged. Witt retiring from the race. The other two have continued.
Kurt Busch able to go to the lead now with the help of Matt Kenseth pushing him there.
Landon Castle, Michael McDowell, Dave Blaney, 36. He was up at the front of the pack, as high as third earlier in the race.
Well, you see Kyle Busch get boxed in right there.
Yeah, some reason the lap cars split. Instead of staying in that lane with the other cars being overtaken, McDowell went to the top side to give the leaders a bottom.
Yeah, this is really dicey here right now. Not a situation, especially as a championship contender, you want to put yourself in.
I'm not sure that was a good move by McDowell to move up in front of those cars. Everybody was actually doing pretty well. Going to be able to pass them on the outside. Just really did jumble up the field.
21 Trevor Bayne, 88 Dale Earnhardt Jr. Speeding penalties on the green flag pit stops. They're also a lap down. And Brad Keselowski kind of hung on a line there, losing spots in the two.
McMurray got shoved out of line, or actually went down below the yellow line. Now, he can do that if he does not advance his position. He was momentarily completely below that.
Well, watch Kyle Busch there, and then watching him. He got boxed in, and now he's made his way back towards the front of this pack.
You can see right there where McMurray got shoved down to the bottom. I think you'll see no call on that.
Plenty of high-speed tension at Talladega. Just the one caution so far in the race. Kurt Busch is the race leader at the world's fastest speedway. Talladega. From our aerial coverage today, provided by Goodyear, from pit lane to victory lane, every NASCAR driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Kurt Busch back to the lead as we check and see how our drivers are doing in AT&T's fastest driver challenge of the top four qualifiers. Casey Kane closest to the front, running in 5th position. Remember to text FAST to 34763 to play AT&T's fastest driver challenge, or visit AT&TfastestDriver.com. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs just by playing. How long will Kurt Busch be able to stay at the front? Jeff Burton, 31 car. Outside lane, picking up some drafting help from guys trying to get back onto the lead lap. Trevor Bayne, 21. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 88.
Jeff Burton, another one of those drivers that, even though he's had what you would call certainly a mediocre year,
like something's wrong with Casey Kane.
But Burton trying to take advantage of having a fast car here and really liking this.
Oh, trouble. Kurt Busch. Inside wall. And somehow again,
I'm out of fuel. I'm out of fuel and I got wrecked, guys. Why am I out of gas? I show 5 more laps down here.
I wonder if that's what's wrong with Casey Kane.
Have to wonder. Yeah.
We saw him just drop straight to the bottom going into turn 1, and then this happened with Kurt Busch.
Yeah, what a shame. Kurt Busch
was leading, wasn't he?
Great job driving this race car. But you run out of fuel in front of the pack.
Yep.
Now, he wasn't leading it when it happened, but... Oh, yeah. Sitting duck right there.
And it looked like by that shot, unless something happened, that Trevor Bayne was going to be the recipient of look at the free pass.
He was.
God, what a shame.
Well, Kurt Busch said he was out of gas. Doc, is that what's wrong with the 5?
Exactly, Alan. Out of gas, the thing burped and then quit. And Casey Kane said, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming. That's when the caution came out. And now he is coasting down pit road. The engine not running. They're going to have to reset some of the electronics when they get the car, the engine refired again. Right, so they're going to go ahead and put 4 tires on him. No other major changes. Got to get it full of fuel, and they're going to try to get it refired. And now it is finally refired as the left side tires are going on our pole center.
Yeah, he's going to be okay, I believe, Doc. Leaders just now behind the pace car going into turn 3. They've got plenty of time.
Yeah, he was very fortunate that happened at a position he was able to get down out of the way and not get run into from behind, as Kurt Busch did.
That's very interesting that they all were. What was that?
Stop, Kurt. They want you to stop right now. They want you to
I
stop.
think that was some of the safety equipment that they
He's
put
got
up
his,
there.
yeah,
They want you to stop.
Got his helmet off. He's not hearing them.
Yeah.
It's mandatory. If you
They want you
crash.
to stop, Kurt. They want you to stop.
All right, pit stops for the leaders. Mike?
Matt Kenseth making his stop. Jimmy Fennig calling for a 4-tire change. Also, they're going to go down on the track bar 2 rounds, make an air pressure adjustment on the 17 car, trying to give Matt Kenseth what he needs. Jamie?
New leader Jeff Burton was music to this team's ears. They're going to take right sides only. They took left sides. Last stop. Car is good, Doc.
Right side of your screen, Jeff Gordon and Marcus Ambrose, both crew chiefs calling for 4 tires and no adjustment. Clean the grill, make sure the tape is there. Ambrose down on the way. Gordon's pit stop is being completed. 13.8 seconds for Jeff Gordon.
So just the second caution flag of the race. And some guys running out of fuel unexpectedly short of when they needed to have pitted, we thought, based on the last time. Denny Hamlin maybe having some work done on that mirror. That was reported on earlier. Free pass Trevor Bayne, caution out because Kurt Busch's car, who had just been leading the lap before, hiccuped out of fuel and he got bumped from behind and turned into the inside wall. The safety workers were there to attend to him when he got the car refired and drove away with both his the bag of the safety workers' equipment on top of the roof of the car. NASCAR has told the 51 team that they are done for the day. And that car will be put on the trailer. Time to go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Pennzoil.
BCS Countdown is on ESPN and ESPNU tonight. A day after the dust is settled, our analysts break down the key victories and defeats that took place on the college football field and discuss their impact on the standings. So who will rise and who will fall? Plus, we look ahead to the key matchups for next week. BCS Countdown at 8:30, then at 9, presented by Discover Card tonight on ESPN and ESPNU. At Talladega, we are 102 laps complete. And Ray, you have a theory about what might have happened to Casey Kane in that 5 car.
Well, again, it is just a theory, but we talked about early in the show that the electronic fuel injection would make adjustments based on temperature. Now, with the air getting better, temperature getting cooler, it might be putting more fuel in the race car. And that fuel, if it adjusted during those long green flag runs when the drivers got the throttle to the floor as they run here, it could have changed their calculation and they'd be off by a couple laps. So I was thinking that somebody could make it on one stop from here, but I'll bet everybody's scared to death to try it now.
Doc, what's the strategy from here on out?
Well, Ray's right. The colder temperatures are having an impact on fuel mileage, but here's the other issue with the 5 car. They did not get it full of fuel on the previous stop, so they knew they were going to be short. They were coming that lap, just didn't quite make it back to pit road. They ran out of gas.
Rusty, I know you're keeping your eye on the 14 car of Tony Stewart right now.
Yeah, I am. Stewart was kind of dragging around in the back of the field. They're not really going anywhere and just kind of hanging out. But now he's starting to, move that car to the front a little bit more, easy, a little bit at a time. Tony Stewart is just, I think, tired of hanging back there. He's 19th. He's been way back in 30th. He's moved it up forward now.
Trevor Bayne got the lucky dog this last go-around here, which means Dale Earnhardt Jr. is still 1 lap down.
He still is, but you know what? David Stremme has been running up front today. He's got a really fast race car. I like him. He's back there with Dale Earnhardt Jr., I'm trying to say. Also Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, and they're not too far away from Kasey Kahne and Harvick once they get up to speed. I think Jr. can make his way back towards the front with those cars around him.
Should be an interesting final 86 laps, Alan.
A lot going on. And still hanging out there, that specter of the closer we get to the end of the race, the closer we get to that big happening. Kurt Busch treated and released from the infield medical center. Follow up on that shortly. The shuffle off the pit lane. Marcos Ambrose in the 9 has chosen the outside lane as the race leader. Casey Mears 13 to his inside. Here we go.
Not on the restart. I don't want to make this racetrack as short as you possibly can as you try to get these cars up to speed.
Matt Kenseth with Juan Pablo Montoya pushing him to the front.
Kenseth hadn't needed much help to get to the front, but it's certainly nice when you get that push. Kenseth out front once again. Seen that a lot on the plate tracks this year.
Yes, we have.
Mears trying to make a move to the outside, hoping somebody will come with him. He's got Jamie McMurray coming to his rear bumper.
In this pack, we still have Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch racing for that free pass position should the caution come back out.
There's the 18 on the outside lane. Earnhardt Jr. in the 88s down to the inside group. Advantage Kyle within that subset.
Yeah, he's got it there right now. Of course, that could change by the time we get over here to the trial.
.29 cars on the lead lap. Within this pack, several not on the lead lap, trying to get back into that first car lap down spot. And still a lot of racing to go.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of give and take going right now as we still have 83 laps left. Even though things have gotten kind of dicey a time or two. Everybody being pretty polite at this point in time. That'll change as these laps wind down.
Lots less give and a lot more take.
Absolutely. See Kyle Busch trying to get back on the lead lap the hard way.
No, we've said it before, but really solid drive by Casey Mears with this 13 today. He and this team have been up front a lot.
They put a lot of effort into this, these plate tracks, and they know that this is their opportunity. So, they've got sponsorship. They can get here and run all day long. Casey enjoys this type of racing. See him now trying to go to the outside of Kyle Busch. I'm not sure he's going to get any help in making that move. But he'll find his way back to the front.
So did Harvick just push him out of the way to get to Kyle Busch and draft, or was there just enough contact there that kind of chased Casey up the track in the way it worked out?
I think sometimes you get a false sense of security there, so to speak, that you've got somebody giving you a big push. You feel that extra surge of RPM. You think that you can make a run there, and then that driver has just kind of moved you out of the way. You don't get the help you were expecting.
Kyle Busch trying to get back onto the lead lap in that 18 car, while Matt Kenseth is out in front. It was early in the race. Lap 41, Matt Kenseth pushed to the lead by his teammate Greg Biffle. Biffle thought they were going to go to the bottom lane, and they got crossed up.
That might be the save of the year right there for Matt Kenseth.
He went from the lead to 31st. Now he's back to the lead. 80 laps to go as we go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Pennzoil.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega is presented by Pennzoil and in part by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install. Tire Rack. Papa John's, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And Here Comes the Boom, in theaters October 12th.
Coming to the 300-mile mark at Talladega in the wild card race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Our telecast today presented by Pennzoil. 29 lead changes, 16 different drivers have been out in front. The caution flag is only waved twice so far. And Kevin Harvick is the man pacing this race at the moment in the Richard Childress Racing 29 car. The last victory for Richard Childress Racing was in this race 1 year ago when Clint Bowyer scored the win.
Right now, 5 of the top 6 cars running are ECR engines.
Kurt Busch thanking the crew after his last drive for Phoenix Racing and owner James Finch. Ends with him going from leading the race to a hiccup and out of fuel and being crashed onto the back straightaway. And we watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that neon green car try and get in front of Kyle Busch. Not with us earlier. Kyle and Jr., along with Trevor Bayne, caught for speeding on pit road. On a set of green flag stops, all lost a lap. Bayne got the free pass at the most recent caution. 18, Kyle, and 88, Jr. fighting to be the first car a lap down should the caution wave again.
Yeah, I've been watching Junior work extremely hard in trying to fight his way towards the front of this pack to get back in that free pass position.
Checking the garage with Mike Massaro.
And Kurt Busch has just shaken hands and hugged all his team members. He'll be leaving after this race. Obviously, this is not the way you'd like to see this end. What happened?
Yeah, we ran out of gas. I don't know how to explain it any other way than that. Ran out of gas while leading. We were 4 laps away from pitting. Just one of those situations to where whether it was a miscalculation in fuel mileage or the fuel cell wasn't picking up all the fuel. You know, we're a team that worked really hard this year, and little things might have been overlooked here or there, but we gave it all we had, and I just went around and hugged all the guys and said thanks, and it's just a tough way to go out, man. We were leading, ran out of gas. It's kind of how our year went this year. We had all the potential in the world. We just never pulled it all together for 500 miles.
It's always chaotic when you come to Talladega. Making matters worse, you had a damaged race car. NASCAR was telling you to stop. Did you hear that command?
No, I didn't. I got out of the car and surveyed the damage, saw that it could still roll. So I jumped back in, and I remembered with these engines, they'll run at 20% of fuel pressure to get it back to the garage. So I tried like heck. That's the competitor in me. That's the desire that I have, and that's what gets misconstrued all the time. And this is the way my life works. Today's a perfect example. I'm leading, I wreck, I run out of gas. I'm still that competitive guy to try to get back in the race, and now NASCAR's yelling at me because I don't have my helmet on, and I'm trying to get it to the garage so the guys can work on it. Now I'm in trouble. Now I got this little storm right here. I mean, this is my life, so I'm not complaining. I put myself in a lot of these situations, but it's on to good things now moving forward. I got all the bad luck out of the way, and this year's been a great year to test me in every which way.
Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks.
Alan?
All right, Mike. So the thoughts of Kurt Busch. He moves on to Furniture Row Racing beginning next weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jamie McMurray in the 1, trying to get the lead from Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch 18, Dale Jr. 88. The subplot racing to be the first car lap down. And still 29 cars on the lead lap, and even more than that in this lead pack.
Yeah, and I think there's two drivers that are probably having to do a little more pushing, taking a chance, overheating their engines. That's Dale Jr. You can see right up on the bumper of Jamie McMurray trying to get to the front, trying to get in that free pass position. It's working right now. Kyle Busch has been doing a lot of pushing also. They're taking a chance, but it's a chance they have to take right now.
So Jamie McMurray back to the lead. Dale Jr. back to the first car, a lap down. And as always at Talladega, the picture changes every lap. Long way to go. We go NASCAR nonstop, presented by Pennzoil. Let's take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint Network. Matt Kenseth out in front of this race, one of 31 lead changes, just happening to put that 17 back out in front, and Matt has led the most laps in today's race. He's been out in front for 22 of the 121 circuits. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been out in front for 18 laps. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app, only from Sprint. Get the app and Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed.
Boy, right now would be a perfect opportunity to get a couple of cars that have, a couple of drivers that have fast cars back on the lead lap if we could have some type of caution with Kyle Busch. He's actually back on the lead lap right now. Dale Jr. would be the recipient of the free pass.
Yeah, the problem is for a caution to come out, there's been some pretty risky things happening out there. Seen a couple of times it should have been a huge wreck, and it really turned out to be just a few cars.
Some of the championship contenders running up front. Some have chosen to hang out on the back most of the day. Let's update them now as we go up to speed, starting with Mike Massaro.
Well, Alan, we knew coming into the day that the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, would be fast. That's based upon how they performed at restrictor plate tracks throughout the course of 2012. But it has been a bit of a struggle for them trying to dial this machine in today. They made a track bar adjustment, lowering it 2 rounds on the last stop. Matt Kenseth came over the radio moments ago telling Jimmy Fennick he made it worse. Way too loose in traffic for his liking right now, Vince.
Well, the next in line is that green car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, Jr. is a lap down, but he is in the lucky dog spot. So if we get a yellow and he stays in that current position, he's going to be back on the lead lap. He was penalized for speeding on pit lane. Crew Chief Steve Letarte told Jr., we got a long way to go, a lot of racing left. We'll get that lap back, and you'll be in good position. Jamie?
This has been a good day for Kevin Harvick so far. The plan from the beginning was to run up front. Based on what they found out in practice, the car was good up front. It was good in traffic. The only issue for Kevin today is running on the bottom. He said it's been terrible for him. He prefers the outside. Doc?
And behind them, back now in 6th position, is Greg Biffle. And Biffle, who has lost 6 positions in the point standings the last 3 races. The first 3 of the chase said, we got a good race car, but the car had gotten a little bit free. Remember this pavement starting to wear a little bit. They added some wedge on the last pit stop, and the other issue was saving fuel. Greg said, I can save a little fuel, and I have. This run, we should be able to make it to about 43 to go. Vince.
Running in 8th place is the 2 of Brad Keselowski, the man who came into this race as the chase leader. Remember, he's won 2 of the first 3 races here, and he's won twice here at Talladega, including the race here in May. It's been a pretty uneventful race for Brad so far. Their strategy was simple, Crew Chief Paul Wolfe says. We're going to go for it. It's business as usual. Doc.
And how about the 6-time Talladega winner, Jeff Gordon, who felt very confident he had a car that could win it here today. Started today 48 points back. He said, I can make a big gain today. But a moment ago, Jeff on the radio said, unless I have the 5 car pushing me, I'm not going anywhere. If I can get the 5 to me, we can make some progress. Now, talk about the 5 car, Casey Kane, who ran out of fuel and had to restart back in 28th position, came on the pit road, topped off his tank at lap 102. Maybe it was the different weather conditions. Maybe they didn't get it full. Either way, they're hoping to make it to lap 143, 144 and make the final pit stop. And also, they've got to get to the 24 car to get both those cars together back to the front. Jamie.
Chad Knaus told me this morning there was no specific plan for Jimmie Johnson today. He told me he was going to leave it in Jimmie's hands. So what did he do? Right at the start, he fell back, as you're looking at Denny Hamlin there, who's working his way forward. But Jimmie Johnson, he dropped to the back, went to the front on pit strategy, led some laps, and falling back now. After the last pit stop, though, Chad Knaus just radioed to him, it's all out, we're going for it after this. Mike?
Jamie, talking to Clint Bowyer this morning, he was full of energy, actually bouncing off the walls. You can understand why he'd be so excited. After all, he's won the fall race here in Talladega the past 2 years. Felt like he had a pretty good race car. However, he's lost a little bit of stability, especially in the rear end. They pulled the Packer from the right front on the last pit stop, but still the car has not reacted the way he's liking. He's in the middle of the pack, exactly where he did not want to be this afternoon now.
And for the lead, Greg Biffle pushed by Aric Almirola around Matt Kenseth. It is Ford running 1, 2, 3. At a track where, for whatever reason, they've certainly run well, but they just haven't had a lot of success in recent years. Only 2 of the last 27 Talladega races have been won by a Ford. Just to wrap up a couple of the other Chase drivers, Tony Stewart there running in 27th position. Martin Truex Jr. running in 28th, where they swap that back and forth between them. Again, a couple of the guys that have chosen to hang out at the back of the pack. Matt Kenseth out in front.
We can just see how strong that 18 car is, though. If he could get that lap back, he would be a serious contender for the win.
Yes, as would Dale Jr. Be in a position to make that happen too. See up there in that second crew there, trying to make all of that work, and it just takes, you got to stay hooked up so much right there. Trevor Bayne, who was a lap down at one point, got that free pass. He was making a solid run there until he lost his partner.
Jeff Gordon trying to hook up with Trevor Bayne in the draft and see if they can get back to the front. Second car in line, Matt Kenseth is the race leader, coming up to 350 miles at Talladega. Anxious moments at Talladega. And the 34th lead change of the race is Jamie McMurray, pushed by Greg Biffle, 1 in 16. Go by Matt Kenseth into the top spot. They go by the 18 of Kyle Busch to put him back a lap down, hurting Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s opportunity should the caution come out and the circumstances not change.
And Jamie McMurray is going to have a say-so in who wins this race today. He's either going to win it, or I think he'll be pushing the person that gets to the start-finish line first on lap 188. If that's the finish of the race.
Yep. We have had a tendency of these races to show a little overtime here.
I'm not sure Matt Kenseth doesn't have one of the strongest, not the strongest car. The only thing is, I've seen Matt's car really kind of all over the place. You don't expect to see that here at Talladega, but his car is not very stable.
You can see Junior now get shuffled out. He's trying to make something happen to see if he can get by the 18 of Kyle Busch to get himself secured. As these pit stops are starting to come up here before too long, you want to make sure you're in that good position.
Yeah, because that's the time that a lot of things can happen. When these guys are trying to make these pit stops, we saw it the last time everybody was low on fuel. Kurt Busch ran out of fuel, caused the crash. But we also see people trying to get to pit road that cause accidents and caution. So you want to try to be up there at that point. You can see there's virtually side by side now.
See Jeff Burton's back up in there, showing himself once again. Driver that could see the checkered flag last year, almost had it in hand, but got passed by his teammate before they got to the finish line.
Boy, he needs a win. I mean, it would do so much for him right now. Had a pretty tough couple of years. A win right now would make it a lot better.
And Burton in the thick of it right now in that 31 car, showing in 4th position last time they crossed the finish line.
I know this looks all rather tame. It's just hard to describe to you how difficult it is inside these race cars for these drivers, because you have cars catching up you have cars coming on your bumper, giving you a push, trying to keep these things going straight, not creating a bad situation, choosing the right line at the right time, who you want to be with. Just a lot going on inside these cars for these drivers.
Just to clarify, in that race to be the first car lap down sub-story within this fight for the lead, Joey Logano in that orange car. Remember earlier, he was in the race to be the first car lap down. He's 2 laps down now, so he's not a factor in this. Other guys that are 1 lap down besides Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch are James Blaney, 36, Landon Castle, 83, Michael McDowell, 98, and David Rudman in the 10. Matt Kenseth running in 3rd. Right behind is Roush Fenway teammate Greg Biffle.
I feel like I'm a wreck every lap here, Liz.
We'll see if we can help you out.
Yeah, he looks very, very unstable. That time there, through the tri-oval, almost every time you see him in the tri-oval on the bottom, his car is really twitchy.
Outside lane, Dale Jr. pushed by Jeff Burton, but Burton can't clear Jamie McMurray for the race lead. Caution out, Talladega debris reported on the back straightaway. And that yellow flag, a race changer for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch. Jr. in front of the race leader and gets to come back around and catch up to the tail end of the field. He was on the lead lap, just 2 2/3 miles behind. And Kyle Busch, the first car lap down, will get the free pass, and he'll get waved by the pace car in a minute.
Well, both these drivers worked extremely hard to get this back. Look at Steve Letarte. Yeah. Back in it.
Lap 62. Junior was tagged for speeding on pit road and got a lap down. We're at lap 138 now. And he just got back on the lead lap.
Yeah, and I think that the strength that he showed there, that Kyle Busch showed there, they're going to be factors in this race for sure. 2 drivers that know how to get it done here.
And plenty of time to get it done.
49 laps to go. Interesting fuel window picture here.
It'll be extremely tight. Be interesting to see just how many, if any, can go that long.
How many top-offs we might see on the 1 to go before we go back racing. Interesting, interesting. So, Jamie McMurray, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Aric Almirola, the top 5, the pit lane open. And I would imagine the biggest instruction to all these crewmen, Mike, is get it full of fuel.
Yeah, that's something you're hearing a lot, but from Matt Kenseth, the edict a little bit more adamant about making sure the car gets tightened up. They're going to put the track bar back to where it was. A 4-tire change. They're also going to pull part of the left front packer, trying to give it more stability, Jamie.
And Kevin Harvick, right side's only Gil Martin telling him, leave on my cue, not the jack, as you see them continue to fill it up. Doc?
4 tires for McMurray, the leader. He wanted 4, so I feel a little more stable with 4 tires. Greg Biffle said 2 right sides only, but they had to wait on fuel to get it completely full of gas. And by the way, both McMurray and Biffle told guys, you gotta save gas. It's really close.
Little split agenda there.
Yeah, tires are not the big deal here. Definitely getting it full of fuel on this stop, a big deal.
48 laps to go. How's it going to shake out at Talladega today? We go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Pennzoil. Back live, Talladega, as we get set to go back racing shortly from the 3rd caution of today's 500-miler. And a reminder that tonight, the Auto Plus NHRA Nationals from Reading, Pennsylvania. The finals come up at 7 Eastern Time over on ESPN2. And then next weekend, a NASCAR doubleheader for you from Charlotte Motor Speedway. The NASCAR Nationwide Series, presented by GoDaddy.com at 7 Eastern Friday on ESPN. And the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Bank of America 500. ABC next Saturday night at 7 Eastern Time in the sports hometown. So we ask you to tweet us your seat and follow us on Twitter at NASCAR ESPN and the hashtag being Pit Studio. Some interesting thoughts here. Junior was running behind the leaders, like this young lady at one point, hoping to get the lucky dog. But then he passed the leader, and the caution came out, and he came back around, and he's back in the hunt, DJ. And Junior's our in-race reporter today. Did that
That's
make
quite
sense?
a stretch. Yeah, I got you. But let's talk to Junior. Hey, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have us?
Yes, sir.
Well, I know that was a hard-fought battle and maybe a little harder than you wanted to go there, but you finally got the break you needed back on the lead lap.
We got a great. I do now. Cigar Chevrolet's got to be pretty good at Mr. Reed. We should get a little gas here. Might be able to make it all the way.
Dale Jr. coming down the pit lane.
Watch these guys leaving now. Come on down.
Along with a lot of the lead lap cars to top off the fuel.
Wait on me. Hold on. All right, go ahead. One lane.
Almost everybody topping off the fuel. And so, we always ask the team's permission before we jump on the radio to talk to our in-race reporter driver. So Dale Jr. getting the top off and heading back out there. Stevie Letarte trying to make sure they've got as much gasoline on board as possible. Now, not everyone pitted to top off there. Now, if we were to talk fuel mileage and somebody getting better mileage than most, who would you think's the one guy that stayed on the track and didn't top off?
I'd say Brad Keselowski.
And we have a winner.
Dodge gets good fuel mileage. We saw it last week.
Yep.
He said, that's okay. I don't need any more. I've got all I need right here. Well, he's still trying to save a little, though. Well, that tells me that they're finished with that run at the back strategy, because if he wanted to do that, he would have pitted, got a little fuel, restarted in the rear. I think he's planning on just staying up front to the end now.
Now, also,
if he can.
Also interesting in this twist of things, Kyle Busch, the free pass car, yes, he's up there in third position because he pitted a lap after the leaders did, which you do as the free pass car, and when all these other guys came back in and topped off, he stayed out.
Yeah, normally he would have to start at the tail end of everyone, but because all those cars made a second pit stop, he's able to retain that position.
He's saying, thank you, guys. I'll take it.
So Brad Keselowski, second place now. Casey Mears, the race leader. As we get set to go back racing with what will be 45 laps to go and 31 cars on the lead lap. And 48 going to hook up in the draft. And is something going to get crazy in front of them? Greg Biffle goes to the lead. 36 car Dave Blaney is one lap down.
Hey, if you've employed that strategy of hanging back all day, I really think this is still too early. There's a lot of laps to go here right now.
Yeah, it's way too early if you're going to use that, because this is when the most risky part of the race is. It's right now when everybody else is starting to get antsy.
But it does totally go against what most race drivers want to do. Hang back there, you get antsy, you've ridden around out there for a long time. You'd like to see what your car's capable of here.
That ooh was a very close call between McMurray in the 1 and Mears in the 13. McMurray got wiggled a little bit and up off that bottom lane. Mears started to go to his inside, and then Jamie came back down. Everybody got away with it.
You see that 36 car in the second car on the inside. He is a lap down. He was able to start in front of a lot of leaders because they made that extra pit stop.
Brad Keselowski.
Now, I agree in Brad's case where he started up front here. on this restart, even though he's been hanging back a lot of this race. You're up there. You got to try to keep that track position that you have right now. Whoa. We're going to see that ramp up a lot here. The bumping's going to get a little bit harder. The holes are going to get closed up quicker.
Kevin Harvick, 29. Looking for a piece of the lead. Got it that lap. Tony Stewart, 13th last lap by.
Yeah, this will be the first time we've really seen Smoke up in the mix all day long. He started with that strategy of hanging out at the back to avoid anything that may happen. Haven't really seen anything happen, but now it's time to go.
Well, we haven't seen what he can do. I know that you picked him at the beginning of the show. He was your favorite to win this thing. And he hasn't really shown us anything, but I don't think it was time for him. Like you said, it's not time for you to go yet, right?
No, it still wouldn't be time for me to go, but there again, it's...
Oh, no, trouble there. Contact. Wow, they got away with it.
Boy, they separated in a hurry. You can see how all that was happening right in front of Tony Stewart.
Joey Logano being lapped by the leaders. But it looked like the trouble was around the 43 car of Aric Almirola there with some contact between cars. Greg Biffle back to the lead.
Actually, the first contact was Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon. Looked like Gordon got into Matt.
Yeah, but Matt got loose, I believe, once again down into the corner. Now, it could have been because of contact getting pushed down into the corner. We've just seen this all day out of Matt Kenseth's car, really wiggling into the corner.
You're good, you're good. Everything's fine
He's going to have a
inside.
hard time here.
Got to be
in
careful.
the latter stages of this race.
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're going to push Matt Kenseth. He doesn't have a big margin there.
Everybody scattered behind him, and somehow they all got away with it.
He's made 2 great saves so far that could have created some big problems for a lot of people, including himself.
But that car is fast.
It'll be too early. On you.
It's like Gordon's agreeing with you, Dale. A little too early.
Well, yeah, depending on what you want to do, but you probably should know what your car's capable of by now. And I would think that most of the time, 15 laps is a long time around here. That should be plenty of time to work your way from 25th spot to the front.
It's perspective. We've still got 100 miles to go. 100 miles. That's a lot of racing.
And a lot of drivers have worn thin on patience here by now, so some things are going to happen here.
All the accidents in the May race happened in the late stages of the race. 24 cars involved in accidents that happened after lap 143. We're at lap 149 now. For the lead, McMurray in the 1. I'd give that one to Biffle by an inch or 2.
You have to wonder, after Kyle Busch had to pit last week and staying out this last time after getting that free pass, might be saying that he can't make it on fuel.
Either that or says that he can and didn't need to come back in.
Or that they'd rather take the track position and be up front and expect that, like we were just talking about a minute ago, the closer we get to the finish of this thing, the more likely something's going to happen.
You know, that's what did him last week, though.
I understand. Let's talk a little mileage and strategy. Doc?
We mentioned one of the best cars all day long has been the 1 car, Jimmy McMurray. But Bono, you guys concerned about fuel? How short are you?
Well, I think we're with the rest of the field. You know, we're probably a half to 1 lap short, but we feel like ECR Power is a good mix between power and mileage. And maybe the Fords and some of the other guys are a little bit shorter than us. So I think everyone's in the same boat. One caution, I think we'll be okay. But we're staying out from here on and trying to get the win.
Mileage aside, do you have the best race car here?
Well, I think we have a really good race car. Very equal today. Looks like, we've been up front all day, so I'd say we have a pretty good Bass Pro Chevy.
All right, a lot of concerns here, maybe a half a lap shy on the one car. Alan?
Doc. McMurray going to lead that lap by half a hood.
Yeah, he's got a equal race car and an excellent driver at these tracks, so that's pretty good.
Boy, he needs a good finish. Look at that. Last top 5 finish was Bristol last year.
3 of McMurray's 6 wins coming at either Daytona or Talladega in the drafting races. He's in the hunt today, led the second most laps in this race so far. We still have 31 cars on the lead lap and just less than 100 miles to go. How's it all going to turn out? We'll go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Pennzoil. Another lead change. Jamie McMurray to the front at Talladega, looking down from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. From pit lane to victory lane, every NASCAR driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. 32 laps to go in the Good Sam 500 at Talladega. A race that's featured 43 lead changes, just 3 cautions, and is getting tense as we close in on the finish.
Well, McMurray just keeps on being the car that makes his way to the lead. He has a strong horse today.
Kyle Busch starting to push a little water in that 18 as he tries to push Greg Biffle past Kevin Harvick in the 29, Jamie.
And Kevin Harvick talking to his crew chief, Gil Martin. Gil telling him he's going to be a lap and 3/4 short. So Kevin telling him when he's letting off the gas and when he's not. In the meantime, he likes to be the one pushing. That is the position he wants to be in. And he has a teammate in Jeff Burton, but he's a few cars behind.
All right, Jamie Harvick there behind Greg Biffle. Jamie McMurray with Kyle Busch behind him. As Juan Pablo Montoya takes the 42 car to the garage.
As he came by the start-finish line the last time, he just pulled out a line. Apparently it was an engine issue.
Tony Stewart starting to show up toward the front in that 14 car. One of the guys that's run around toward the back of this lead pack a lot today.
He might have done that, but when it comes time to draft your way up front and figure out which lane to be in, Tony Stewart's one of the best at doing that and utilizing the air and his race car and getting himself in the right position to win these races.
You know, Dale, you were just the same way. I mean, you had a knack for this kind of racing. And what is it? I mean, what is it that makes somebody good at this?
Well, you work for the best at it in Dale Earnhardt, and paid attention to a lot of things he did, but you just develop a feel for it as to what you can do with your car and what you need to do, and you get more of a feel of it without having to look at your gauges and things like that, like the tachometer, which tells you that you're picking up speed. You just gather that feel, and Tony Stewart's one of the best at that, as is Jamie McMurray up front right now.
Confirming it was engine on the 42 car for Juan Pablo Montoya. Dale Jr. trying to make that outside lane go forward. Spent a good chunk of the center section of this race a lap down after a pit road speeding penalty.
The fans are on their feet now as you see that 88 going forward.
And another lap side by side for the race lead, Biffle and McMurray. Jeff Gordon back in 17th.
Okay, while you're back here, can save us just a little bit of fuel. It's going to help us in the end.
Eddie DeHaan, the spotter. "27 laps to go. We go NASCAR nonstop, presented by Pennzoil."
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega is presented by Pennzoil, pursuing the latest oil technology because we love cars just as much as you do. And in part by Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. And AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Coming to 23 laps to go at Talladega, Greg Biffle is the leader. As the picture continues to change, David Ruderman's just gone to the garage. Kyle Busch shuffled back into line from second place to where he runs now in 16th position, as you saw during NASCAR nonstop coverage. And still people trying to figure out when and how to try and go to the front.
And so we're going to have to decide, you know, is do we try to hook up with this 88 and push him up to the front and blow off quite a bit, you know, before we get ready for the end, or do we need to wait till the end?
So that from Jeff Gordon, Doc, who have they made any decisions on that?
Well, just a moment ago, Alan Gustafson said Jeff was saving fuel. He just finally turned him loose. Said, "Okay, Jeffrey, and from now on you can go, buddy. Just going to turn you completely loose." He was saving gas. They were a little concerned, a little short. And now because of the radio, Jeff's going to try to find somebody. He would love to get to the 88 and be able to get hooked up with his teammate to the right side there, and maybe the two of them go toward the front.
All right, so Jeff still kind of trapped there. Back toward the end of that line. Further back, this group separated by a little bit of racetrack, then a second group where Denny Hamlin runs all the way back in 27th place. Look at the gap from that group. And then Hamlin's back in the second group, Jamie.
It's interesting to see how many drivers like Jimmie Johnson have gone from the back and they're moving their way forward. You guys haven't budged. What's your plan, Darian?
We're in the back there saving some fuel still a little bit. We're a couple of laps short, but gonna kind of still wait for that big one to happen. If not, we're gonna be ready to go there at the end. They've already made a couple of runs up in the front. Denny saw how fast he was and how much speed he had, especially they're working with the 5, so gonna hold her on for a little while.
All right, Casey Kane's team was down here. They're talking. They're making a deal for the end, Alan.
Okay, Jamie, thanks. Lead change. Jamie McMurray back to the front.
I feel like we've said that a lot today.
Yes, we have. 45 lead changes in this race. About to be 46.
Yeah, that Hamlin group, back to them just a second, they've fallen off back about 5 seconds behind this lead pack. It'll be interesting to see when they decide to go, how quickly they can make that up. That's getting a little further behind than what I like.
Outside lane, Dale Jr. pushing the 2-lap down car of Joey Logano. And they're going to the front.
Well, Junior decided he couldn't depend on somebody else to push him. He was going to do the pushing and go as far as he could. See, Tony Stewart now pushing Kevin Harvick to the lead.
I tell you that McMurray kept wiggling in front of Greg Biffle, and I was waiting for them to get together. Now Biffle's gotten to his inside. They have had a couple of close calls.
See Junior have to shuffle back in line.
We're inside 20 to go, and I'm sure that intensity level is coming up in the cockpit of these cars.
50 miles to go. Jeff Gordon.
I know what's screwing this up. That one car is moving from lane to lane to lane to lane. I mean, geez, yeah, I don't know why people think he's a great restrictor plate driver. I just think he's a chicane.
High-speed rush hour frustrations in the draft at Talladega. 18 laps to go. You continue to see the action as we go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Pennzoil. .50 lead changes. And coming to 15 laps to go at Talladega with 30 cars on the lead lap. And the winner, anybody's guess. Casey Mears out in front.
He's hung out front, or around the front, a lot of this day. Fast Ford that he's got, and he's got a Ford, and Greg Biffle pushing him.
Some of the guys that have hung out toward the back all day starting to push their way toward the front. Jimmie Johnson, Clint Bowyer, 48 and 15. Tony Stewart, 14.
Well, it is time to go now. You can't lay back anymore. You can't hang back. The only way you'd be hanging back right now is if you can't make it on fuel.
Oh, there it is! Biffle knocked down onto the apron, and he hangs onto it.
Wow.
That's two big wrecks that should have happened. Him and his teammate, Matt Kenseth. I don't know how they both didn't crash in each one of these incidents. They were very similar.
And McMurray to the lead. You don't see a car get turned sideways toward the apron like that at Talladega and not crash very many times. We've seen it twice today.
Well, you see a lot of pushing and shoving going on right now.
Okay, we're inside 15 laps to go. You see that 15 car Bowyer, he's starting to make his way up through there. You're going to see a lot of new players at the front.
Gordon and Junior with a run to the outside of Harvick.
Kyle Busch has a
Hang on to it. He backs off. You're all good right there.
Holy cow, how did he do that?
Talent.
Drifting through the crowd, or through the corner.
Now they'll regroup and try again. Keselowski forcing a lane to the outside.
Yeah, you can see Junior slowed up to get back on Gordon's bumper. That everybody else decided they didn't want to come out of the throttle.
Watch Greg Biffle.
Oh, my.
Yeah, you're supposed to wreck right there. Unbelievable job by Greg Biffle.
And then Gordon and Junior.
Yeah, Gordon's going for the lead here. He's got a head of steam with Junior.
Sideways through the crowd.
Looked like maybe Junior expected McMurray to protect that bottom lane, and McMurray moved up. And when Gordon went high to go around him, it caught Junior on Gordon's left rear quarter panel instead of the center of the back bumper. Couple of slower cars. The leaders will come up on to overtake right here. 30 car David Stremme, and ahead the 23 car of Robert Richardson. Stremme to the apron to give way.
Boy, there's a lot of pushing going on right here. Okay, that group of Hamlin and Truex and Kane back there, they're not really gaining anything on this front group.
There's Truex heading up that second pack way back there. 6 seconds off the lead. About 4 seconds off the tail end of that lead group. Coming to 10 laps to go. There's Jimmie Johnson.
You know, we have it figured inside that we're going to run out of fuel on the last lap between turn 4 and turn 1. A lot of other people are going to be running out as well, so we have to be cognizant of that.
I think that's the big unknown right here. How many cars can go, and where are they going to be in this group? Going to cause another big wreck when we run out of fuel?
Yeah, so you're trying to position yourself here, stay wide open in the gas, and oh yeah, somebody might run out of gas right in front of you, and you have to be ready to get by them somehow, some way.
who makes the next move, who decides it's cool enough and they need to go now. As the leader, Jamie McMurray, hits 9 laps to go, Doc.
And they have told Jamie we are close. I have not heard them tell him what they told us, is that they're about a half to 3/4 of a lap short. Chip Ganassi watching left side of your screen. It has been an abysmal year for this team. They have not had a top 20 finish since Pocono in June. How big would this be? But yet they may be a half a lap shy on fuel.
This whole thing can turn inside out in a number of ways in these last 8.5 laps.
Yeah, and who in that pack may possibly miss it even more than they thought and then run out even before then, creating a much worse situation.
Yeah, we saw Casey Kane ran out a few laps sooner than he thought he was going to earlier in the race, and we might see that here. I think you'll see that within about 5 laps to go. That's when I'd be on my toes for that. Still not much you can do to defend against it. You just have to go.
There's Jimmy back in 18th place.
Yeah, there's a pack coming. That second pack with Hamlin and Truex and Kane, they're starting to now get a sniff of this lead draft. They were quite a bit quicker the last lap. They've actually closed the gap. If they get there, they'll have a lot of momentum. We'll see just how far they can go.
Yeah, but you're going to have to stay tucked up pushing, and I just haven't seen anybody be able to stay there that very long. But once you get inside of 5 laps, you got to push and get as much as you can.
David Stremme just off the pit lane in the 30. Again, staying with the apron. Letting the leaders come by. Clint Bowyer in the 15. Matt Kenseth in the 17. Looks like it's time to push. McMurray to the inside with Kevin Harvick behind him. And Kyle Busch pushing on Harvick. Look at those cars move around at those speeds.
That right there is how you make the most speed. You're literally pushing. You've got a lot of horsepower working together and making that happen. How long can your engine withstand that? Clint Bowyer has made this work to perfection so far as he goes to the lead. Hanging back strategy all the way to the front. 6 to go.
Casey Mears, 13, still in the mix. Jeff Gordon and Jr., the team cars together. What about people like Keselowski and Hornish a little further back, coming up 3 wide, 22 and 2. Remember that Clint Bowyer is the winner of this race the last 2 straight years.
I don't know about Bowyer not letting Kenseth be the man pushing him. That's one of the fastest cars out there.
Oh, trouble! McMurray goes for a spin. And somehow, no one else is involved.
Hey, we got front end damage here. Job today.
That's a tough break for this team. They had a great car today.
Caution is out with 5 laps to go.
Jamie, come around.
Jamie McMurray being pushed by Kevin Harvick at a place on the racetrack where his car is kind of looked to the eye to be a little unstable at times during the day.
Yeah, and anytime you get hit going through the trial, well, you have a lot of wheel in the car right there. I mean, it's a normal turn that you're making through there. Any contact, as you can see, and wow.
Yeah, McDowell just barely missed him.
That's a shame for Jamie McMurray. He'd done a fantastic job with this car all day. It's going to be tied as to who was leading that lap there. And then what do they do strategy-wise here?
It really was kind of a big break for Hamlin and Kane and Truex because they're now able to close that gap.
Well, you know they'll be in getting fuel to make sure.
In front of him.
They should, yes. Those cars should make pit stops here.
Coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. 2 inside, 2 inside, 2 inside. Save fuel, save fuel, save fuel.
Save fuel,
instantly.
save fuel.
I mean, he's telling him that while this wreck's happening. Save fuel. That's how important it is. They don't want to come down pit road.
Couple things here. That's 3 times today we've had a car get spun, and it's been a relatively few number of cars in the incident. It's the grass eat up that splitter.
Yeah, you see how much damage it does to the whole front end.
And second thing, remember at the caution, they freeze the field, go back to the last scoring loop to determine the running order for the restart.
That should probably be Clint Boyer.
So pit road's going to be open here for all of the cars. Lead lap and not on the lead lap. Got 29 of them on the lead lap. Do you give up spots on the track here, Andy?
You can't up front. Those guys up front can't do that. If we know that a lot of cars that, like those cars we mentioned with Kane, Hamlin, Truex, they would likely come down pit road to make sure they can make it. And anybody that knows they can't, that really felt like they were going to run out, period, would have to come down pit road here.
But like the Jimmie Johnson that we heard be told, you know, you're going to run out on the last lap between turn 4 and turn 1. You just stay out here and take this savings?
Well, one thing you got to keep in mind here is that with this green-white checker, there's likely to be another one.
Yeah.
So then you got to factor that in. That would probably, if I'm one of these chasers like Jimmy, I believe I'd come down and get gas and just see what I can get.
Could have up to 3 attempts at a green-white checker finish. It is going to be a split agenda here. A lot of them going to come in, but not all of them.
It's a lot of them, though.
Vince?
It's just going to be a quick splash for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's come from a lap down. He's got a good car. Let's see what he can do to the finish. Doc?
Likewise, Jeff Gordon got to get gas. Casey Mears got to get gas. Whoa! And Mears trying to get out. Biffle sliding in his pit, blocks Mears in. Biffle, they've now got to get gas, and Mears gets by. Biffle lost about 3 seconds trying to get backed up.
Denny Hamlin, we heard Darian Grubb say earlier, they were a little short on fuel. Now they also were about 4 seconds behind the lead pack.
Yeah, big break for this team.
And now the list of those who did not pit and chose to stay out. Clint Boyer, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Trevor Bayne, Tony Stewart, Regan Smith, Michael Waltrip, Kasey Kahne, Terry Labonte. And I'll double check to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Looks like maybe Aric Almirola also did not pit.
You notice the top 3 in points coming in here, they all came down pit road to make sure they could make it. That's smart. Race for a championship.
Add David Ragan and Almirola to the list of those who didn't pit. So it'll be 1 to go this time. A series of overtime finishes here at Talladega, not all that unusual. And remember that if the race is under caution as it comes to its scheduled conclusion, in an attempt to give fans a finish under the green flag, NASCAR will extend the race and run a green-white checker finish. Throw the green, race a lap. If they get back to the white flag without a caution, then the race has begun its last lap, and the next flag, be it checkered or yellow, ends the race. How about some of those who did not pit, Jamie?
Well, Gil Martin, the crew chief for Kevin Harvick. You guys are 9th in points at this point. What is your strategy here? You decided to stay out.
Well, Kevin's been trying to save a lot of gas on this entire run with our Budweiser Chevrolet. I mean, we're running up front right now. These caution flags are going to help us. We're about a quarter of a lap from making it right there, so we're right on the money. So only chance we got to win this thing. That's the only chance we got to stay in it, so we're here to win.
Of course, he's talking about staying in the championship, Vince.
Addington Steve, the crew chief for Tony Stewart. How close are you to fuel in the end?
We'll be right on it. I think that if we could, as long as we don't have another green-white checker, we'll be in good shape. I think guys crunched some numbers and said we were good to go, so we're going for it.
You spent a lot of time at the back. Now you're up at the front. You got Tony Stewart with the wheel in his hands. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. He'll get the job done. I think we're in pretty good shape. Took care of our car all day long, and that was the game plan, and now we're going to run them for it.
Thanks for the time, Steve. Alan?
All right, Vince. He sounds relaxed.
I'll
bet he's not.
No, he's not relaxed, but he does sound confident. He's got Tony Stewart behind the wheels, going to line up 5th on the restart, green-white checker. I'd be feeling pretty good, too.
Yeah, and you know, something that's going to be a little different here. 2 cars can hook up now. If you can find a good partner, you can stay hooked up through these laps, and your car's not going to overheat to get to the checkered flag.
Clint Bowyer, the race leader.
What do you think?
We're committed now, bud. We're committed. Let's go for a trophy. Let's go for the trophy.
So there's how they made their decision.
Clint Bowyer started the day the 4th place driver in the championship, 25 points off of the lead. He's leading the race now, Mike.
Strong race car. The question, though, Jimmy, as it is up and down pit road now, fuel. Where do you stand?
We're good to do this, but one more caution, we won't make it. It's got to finish this time.
Like everybody else, very close. Alan?
2 laps to settle it if we don't see the yellow flag in the first of those 2 laps. 29 cars on the lead lap. Clint Bowyer, Matt Kenseth bring the field to the restart. Makes it 4 wide back in the pack. That was close. Matt Kenseth and Clint Bowyer. Contact there as Kenseth trying to clear Bowyer. Casey Kane trying to push his way through, and it's Tony Stewart in the outside lane with Sam Hornish behind him.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth sitting duck right here. They could be coming by him on both sides.
Outside. Let's see,
Stewart to the lead at the white flag. We're on the last lap. Will they make it back?
Well, he was fast to fast when he's got the 49 pushing him here.
4 deep behind Stewart and Kenseth.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick's got some real help coming towards the front here.
Michael Waltrip in the 55. Into the picture. Pushed by Casey Mears. Kenseth with Harvick behind him. Oh, there's contact.
Out of you now.
Stewart into the middle of the pack and over.
Fortune's out.
And a huge wreck to end this race. Matt Kenseth is going to get to the finish line first. Is everybody okay? And one of the championship drivers got through. And which ones didn't? NASCAR will check the video to see who was out in front at the moment of caution. They have just called confirmation that Matt Kenseth is the winner of this race. So many cars involved in the accident. Tony Stewart's car up on its side. Jimmy Johnson's car all torn up. And it's going to take a bit to sort out the actual finish of this one as Stewart climbs from his car. And that's great to see. Bobby Labonte. And the scene. Dale Jr. just refired from the accident scene and came to the finish line. He's picking up Jimmy Johnson, who just climbed from his destroyed race car.
Yeah, Jr. just trying to complete the last lap. He came off pit road, crossed the line, and he saw Jimmy standing there.
We'll be right back.
if that left rear tire doesn't come apart.
Yeah.
Not going to be good on Jimmy.
Well, he'd be the first to know.
Yeah, I know.
Chaos at Talladega Superspeedway. Matt Kenseth is the beneficiary of all the problems out there.
Well, what a turn of events. First, show you who was in the lead at the moment the caution came out. There's Stewart with Matt Kenseth. And you see clearly Kenseth out in front as the caution light turns to yellow.
Yeah, it looks like the first three might be Kenseth, Gordon, and Kyle Busch from that point.
Yeah.
But it was
anybody's guess from that point.
It all started. Michael Waltrip had a huge run down on the bottom, getting pushed by Casey Mears.
That definitely was the first contact you saw was Michael Waltrip into Tony Stewart, but he was getting a big, big push and nowhere to take it.
Well, here it is. Waltrip in the 55, Mears in the 13, Stewart in the 14.
You can see Tony just a little bit late in making that move to get back down. Harvick and Kenseth on the outside had a run, so they were literally going to go by him on both sides.
Watch the two. The championship leader somehow avoided getting really torn up in that.
See, it looked like Martin Truex was going to get through there. Bobby Labonte caught him right at the end.
They waited all day to do it, but it was big when it happened.
Yes, sir.
See Michael Waltrip just barely catching the left rear quarter panel of Kevin Harvick. Get him involved. Stewart's car upside down on top of Casey Kane's number 5.
Incredible. They're coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and you know as a driver, Tony Stewart's leading this race. He's got no help. He tries to make a move that's going to get him some push and help. And you know as a driver, if you make that move, there's a chance that somebody's not going to lift on the last lap, and this is a situation that could happen. It's a product of this type of racing, and every driver knew that's the situation that you could find yourself in.
From Clint Boyer's seat.
Dig hard. Coming to the checker. Dig hard. Dig hard. Dig hard. 4 wide. You're on the bottom. Come. Get it right if you can get it. Get it right if you can get it. Into the checker. If you can get it started, get it started. I see it.
Casey Kane. About to have an unexpected passenger. At least 20 cars involved in that accident coming to the checkered flag. Unofficial standings, because it's going to take them a while to go back and review this finishing order. Make sure they have everyone in the right place. We go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Pennzoil. The scene after the chaotic finish at Talladega as we go to Victory Lane, presented by Tire Rack.
He's in 6th. Tony Stewart dropped 2 spots. He into 7th. Martin Truex Jr.
Matt Kenseth celebrating another restrictor plate win, your second restrictor plate win of the year. Talked to your crew chief this morning, Jimmy Fennig. He said the car was a little bit slow. Didn't look that way out there. How would you describe the day?
It was pretty darn fast. It was really hard to drive on the bottom. We just kept getting looser and looser during the race. When I get back in the pack and I'd have people outside of me and people pushing me, it was really hard to control, but it was really, really fast. Doug Yates and the boys at the engine shop did a wonderful job with this Ford. And if somebody would slow up and get on me, I could just push them to the front. So We've been so strong at all 4 of these plate races. I feel really good for these guys to get to win. Restrictor plate racing isn't a lot about the driver. It's about Jimmy Fenning and this whole team back here. So proud of them guys. Real quick, I got to thank Sprint, Best Buy, Ford, Zest, Fifth Third, Valvoline, Gatorade, and Citizen. And also proud to have the NBCW on here for CF on here for today.
What a wild finish. I don't know how much you could see, but what can you tell us about what was transpiring around you and behind you on that final lap?
Yeah, I seen, first of all, I got out there way too far. I don't know if I thought I had Clint cleared, and I thought I got in front of him, and we barely touched, and I must not have quite been clear, and that slowed everybody down, and I got way out there, which I knew wasn't good. But they all got slowed down, so they were coming 3 wide, so I just lined up to the middle and saw Kevin, and he stayed lined up on me real good, gave me a push. And then it was still going to be a drag race to finish. I'm not sure how Tony got turned around, so I didn't see a lot after that.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Feels good for these guys. Just proud to get another one of these guys. Didn't know if we get another one before the year is out, so just proud of that whole group.
Matt Kenseth back in victory lane. That'll certainly take away a little bit of the sting of the slow chase start. Jamie?
And back at the medical center, Tony Stewart. Your name has popped up a lot in this. First off, are you okay? That was a scary time.
I'm a finely tuned athlete. I mean, I got a really strenuous workout regimen, so I'm really good.
You still have your comic relief, but seriously, Tony, what happened there?
I just screwed up. I turned down across. I think it was Michael and crashed the whole field. It was my fault blocking to try to stay where I was at, so I take 100% of the blame.
Just a product of Talladega?
Unfortunately. I just, I was trying to win the race, and, I was trying to stay ahead of Matt there, and Michael got a great run on the bottom, had a big head of steam, so when I turned down, I turned down across the right front of his car, so just, a mistake on my part, but it cost a lot of people a bad day because of it.
Glad to see Tony Stewart okay, Alan, just going for the win there.
So, that's a pretty straightforward explanation there from Tony Stewart. After the scary and tough ride he took at the end of today's Talladega race, Matt Kenseth, probably one of the few that's happy at the end of this one, celebrating in victory lane after a 20-car pileup in turn 4 as they were steaming toward the checkered flag. More from Talladega in a minute. Aerial coverage from Talladega provided by Goodyear. From pit lane to victory lane, every NASCAR driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Well, we know that Jeff Gordon finished second in this one, Doc.
What a wild one here, Jeff Gordon. They show us that you finished second. What did you see on that final lap?
I didn't see anything but Casey Kane's rear bumper. That was the craziest finish I've ever experienced here at Talladega. And for a change, I finally come out on the good side of it. But, I had my teammate in front of me, which was perfect. I had the 18 behind me, one of the best pushers out there. And we took the green and we were pushing. But we weren't going anywhere. I mean, our lane just would not move. The middle, the outside, everybody just kept passing us. I was like, there's nothing more I could do. I was running wide open, just hitting the guy in front of me, getting hit from behind. There was times I was just trying not to wreck Casey, but yet we were being very aggressive. And we come to the drivable to take the white. I really have no idea how we all made it to the white flag because it was 3-4 wide, cars moving everywhere. But basically, I went into turn 3. I was right on Casey. I saw smoke, and they checked up. I hit him. I got hit by the 18, and somehow that turned me down on the apron. And I just put it back to the floor, and I drove by every car, and I come out of there second behind the 17 car. That's definitely what we need to do. That's like a win. And sure, I'm glad we survived it. We'll see what we can do with it from here on out.
Jeff Gordon, second week in a row, he finishes second and now moving up in the points, guys.
Unfortunately for Jeff, he moved up in positions, but he didn't gain many points on Brad Keselowski unofficially because they're still reviewing the finishing order and where Brad falls in line. Unofficially, he's shown at 7th at the moment. Brad did add a little bit of gap to Jimmy Johnson by more or less getting through that last corner wreck, while Jimmy got really torn up, his Chevrolet. So again, all this unofficial as NASCAR continues to review the finishing order. Show you how some of these top drivers in the championship fared in that last turn. Here's Denny Hamlin.
I think, see, Denny back there saw it all happening, but you get on the brakes too hard and trying to turn the car, and then it just spins out. And
still might have been the best move. All that stuff going on there might have been the safest place to be.
Unofficially, the 11 finished in 11th position. Pending the scoring review, you see he was able to fire it up and keep going. And with Denny Hamlin we'll catch up with Jamie Little.
And Denny Hamlin talking to the media right now. Grass all over you, Denny. What a day for you. First off, I thought you waited maybe a little bit too long to go forward, but looking back, are you happy with your plan today?
I mean, it sucks. I'm sure all my fans are frustrated, but I mean, it's what you have to do. I mean, you kind of give up the chance at a win riding in the back all day, but you got to miss the wreck, and that's what I had to do at the end. Was just basically, as all those guys were wrecking, just go through them, slow down, let them all crash, and then drive around them and get to the start finish line. So you got to maintain the pace, and that's what that's what everyone did. And so it sucks that it's not a top 10 finish, but it's better than my average here.
Where you were and what you saw happen ahead of you, how was your heart rate at that moment when you've got to make a split decision, or you could be part of it?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go forward by driving into the wreck. And so I knew my objective, as soon as I started to see smoke and a car going sideways, is to back off from the pack, because everyone's always trying to gas up, get to the start finish line, but you've got to maintain, you got to keep rolling, you got to keep going. And so for me, I just backed off and then let all the cars wash down to the bottom and then went around them.
All right, Denny Hamlin brings it home 11th, unofficially still 3rd in points, Vince.
Kyle Busch brought it home 3rd, had one of the best cars, overcame a speeding penalty early in the race, and still in there fighting for it at the finish. And another crazy Talladega finish. Good run.
Yeah, it's about how they always come down to, but great race for us and our team. The guys did a great job on this M&M's Camry and gave me a good piece. It was really fast when we were out there in the draft, pushing some guys and making the outside lane actually move forward a few times. So it was really good. Just there at the end, the last lap, man, it's just anything. Everybody goes for broke. So we were on the bottom there behind the 24, who was behind the 5, who was behind the 15, and I was pushing my foot. I was quarter throttle, and we weren't going anywhere running in the back of those guys. And then everybody's going by us on the outside, and then we got into turn 3 and seen the 14 car turn sideways, and just everything ensued after that. So I just cranked it left, went to the apron, and tried to get through there as best I could. Not get hit by anybody else. Fortunately, we made it and come home 3rd, so not too bad.
You were due for a good break. Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Kyle Busch, he finishes 3rd today.
All right, Vince, thanks. So as Matt Kenseth celebrates, all we know for sure so far are the top 6 finishers. Kenseth Gordon, Kyle Busch, David Ragan, Regan Smith, and Greg Biffle. Everybody else, the scoring is being reviewed by NASCAR after a 20-car pileup in turns 3 and 4, coming to the checkered flag that started with Tony Stewart up about 3rd place.
You can see right here, Regan Smith working his way through there. Looked like Martin Truex might get through there with a pretty good points day, but right here at the end, Bobby Labonte's going to catch him.
And look at the condition of David Ragan's 34 car. Beaten up.
Yeah, and he brought that car home 4th.
Let's go to get him a top 5 finish. Grinding crash.
Proximity's everything.
Yes, it is. So many involved in the mad scramble to the finish at Talladega today. Jimmy Johnson, one of those whose cars got all torn up, and Vince Welch caught up to him.
Well, Jimmy, certainly not the way we wanted to see this one end. And what would you see? What happened?
Just hard racing at the end. We knew it was going to happen. We did a very good job of managing things all day long, and it was just getting real tight. I think we were probably 4 wide going into 3, and I could see some tire smoke off the guys in front of me, and then everybody just kind of merged together, and we were all in a big wad at that point. And fortunately, my car could still drive back to the finish, and I passed a couple guys that were sitting there on the bottom trying to get going themselves. So. I guess I saw 17th. I don't know. We'll take it, I guess. We don't have a choice now.
Thanks, Jimmy.
And Clint Bowyer has been checked and released. First off, Clint, are you okay? That was a big one.
Yeah, it was just too bad. We had a good car and was patient all day long, got in position, the caution came out. And I mean, that's just Talladega. That's why we all come out and watch. I wish we need to shorten this race up, because it's just it's all waiting to see what happens right there at the end anyway. They had a good run on us on the outside. Kevin and I got broke apart. He couldn't stay with me. And, like I said, we were in position to win. We just didn't win.
What caused the whole thing, Clint? You've obviously been in that position, but you end up in victory lane the last 2 years.
The 14, he hung a pretty hard left on Michael there, and he turned him and kind of wrecked everybody. But he did what he had to do.
Glad Clip Boyer's okay.
Kasey Kahne running up in that front pack when it all broke loose. Is there anything you can do at that point, or are you just along for the ride?
You're kind of along for the ride once it starts, but you know, I just about made it by, and somebody got me, I think, in the right rear corner and turned me back to the right, and I kind of sucked me up into it, and then I just felt like I could downshift and try to steer as long as I could. We ended up making it back to the line, and a few cars passed us, so we might be a little better than 13th, but it was just the way it goes. It was very close to getting through there and running second, I would say, right with Jeff, because Jeff was pushing me hard, and it just took me to the right.
When you're in that situation, you know you're getting down to the final laps at Talladega. Can you feel it coming?
Oh, you can feel it coming. You can see it coming. It's just, is it going to hit you or not? And it just hit us. We were just about snuck through there. Thanks to HendrickCars.com, Chevrolet, Farmers Insurance, Quaker State, everybody. We just about made it.
A lot of damage to his race car, but good to see Kasey Kahne doing fine.
All right, Vince, and Matt Kenseth continues to celebrate a big win, his second of the season. And Matt Kenseth, our Goodyear Superior performer today, he was almost wrecked down in turn 1 early in the race when a little drafting went wrong. Made a spectacular save, and now he's celebrating.
Yeah, one thing I saw, this car wasn't very good, wasn't very stable handling-wise, but it was fast all day. Matt did a super job to keep it rolling and get the win.
And so with the big wild card in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup in the books now, we look ahead to the final races of the 2012 season, and it's on next week to Charlotte Motor Speedway for a Saturday night race under the lights. And then you see how we finish up: Kansas, Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead, Miami. Based on what you saw today, big thought coming out of Talladega is?
Well, it's certainly the points got separated some, but as you can see there, we've got some really good racetracks coming up for some excellent racing. And as we say, anything can happen anywhere. We talked about the probability of things happening here. Yeah, they do happen, and we expect that. But going to Charlotte and Kansas and Martinsville, a short track, this points deal could get shaken up a lot.
Yeah, we expected to see this kind of stuff happening here at Talladega. It took a long time for it to unfold, but it did it on the last lap, and boy, it was big when it did. Matt Kenseth lucky to get out of that one.
So Matt Kenseth celebrating at Talladega after scoring the win at the end of a wild day of racing. Greg Biffle wound up somewhere in the middle of that toward the end of it, we think in 6th place, Doc.
Well, Greg Biffle's been racing a long time, but Greg, you just told me a moment ago you've never seen anything like that. How would you describe what you saw in that final lap?
I don't know if I can. My voice is gone from screaming. I've been racing a long time. I've never in my life seen something like that. It was literally like the video game. I mean, cars upside down, going everywhere. I don't know how I got slowed down and turned to the bottom and came through that thing. I would have, the in-car camera, if I would have had an in-car camera, $1 million shot. What I saw out the windshield of my car, it was unbelievable.
Greg Biffle, through all that, though, comes home with a damaged race car, but a top 5 finish.
Well, Casey Mears has been checked and released, running up front all day. Casey, what happened there?
I don't know exactly what happened. I was pushing the 55 really hard, and I couldn't see much past him, so I was just giving him a big run. And then I don't know exactly what happened up front, but I think the 14 came down to block the lane, you know, to get the run to the end. And I was pushing the 55 so hard, there was no way to check up. I felt the 55 start to get on the brakes, and I started getting on the brakes, but by then we'd already all started a big pile up. So it's unfortunate. I'm real proud of everybody, you know, on the Geico Ford. We had a fast car all day. We got to run up front all day. And it seems like at these races it ends like this or you end up pretty good, you know. So it's unfortunate. It was scary. Now that I see the crash, I'm glad Tony's okay and everybody's walked out okay.
Good day till the end for Casey Mears.
Heading into this day, we expected some separation to happen in this race. It did in terms of the points. Who do you think now is in an even bigger hole?
I'd take a look at Jeff Gordon. I really thought Jeff would maybe pick some more spots up.
Even though he finished
second and he still hung there, you know, over 40 points behind. So, I mean, this poor guy is trying like crazy. He's having good runs, but can't seem to make any gains on the points. He's trying hard, but the day was one crazy day, and he really escaped a big one. There's no doubt about that. Finished second, even though he didn't gain the points.
Well, another week goes by, and I think the 2, the 48, and 11 separate themselves much further from the field as far as someone else gaining on them. So I think at 2, 48, and 11, I think that's your chase race.
Yeah, except those guys have gained on second and third. So I'm not ready to give it to anybody yet. But I just we had such a good race going on. I just wish we could figure out a way to finish these things, and let the guys race for it. I hate to see that much stuff torn up on the last lap.
Good race cars just destroyed.
We hate to see it happen actually live on the track, but let's take a look at it as it happened again. And I want to point out the 2-car of Brad Keselowski in the back behind the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he
escapes.
He does. He keeps on the bottom of the racetrack, and he gets through this melee of cars just flipping and sliding all over the place. And, you sit here trying to think, okay, who caused all this? Tony Stewart took the blame. Michael Waltrip had a big run. I will tell you, in my experience here at Talladega, that is just racing. I mean, it's the last lap. Everybody's going for it. Michael's got a big run. Tony's got a good run. Matt Kenseth's up on the top side. This is just classic Talladega wrecking.
But if you know that that's going to happen if you block for position, why do you do it?
Tony Stewart's one of the very best out there, and he didn't know. He had no idea this wreck was going to happen.
Yeah, he thought he could catch Waltrip as he was coming and utilize that opportunity to push him forward to win the race. Michael and Casey just had such a heck of a run.
And you're traveling. You're covering a football field a second, so a split-second decision, the cars can close very quickly. Yeah.
Keep in mind, we are back next weekend, as Rusty said, with some normalcy, back to a track where we can perhaps have a little bit more of a proper view on what to expect. It's the Bank of America 500 at Charlotte, 7 o'clock Eastern next Saturday. Congrats once again to Matt Kenseth. We'll have more from Talladega on SportsCenter up next. Thanks for joining us.